Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your Wednesday night fix of Motorsport back here on the streams of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Hope you're settled in for a big night of action, because I tell you what, we sure are. New Hampshire is your location for what will be the first of two different races tonight. Two races tonight here at New Hampshire. And no, you can see on your screen, it's not oval. We're going road racing. And it will be the Radicals coming to you first and foremost tonight for what will be two races. It'll be the 15-minute first race, and I believe, as per usual, the inverted top 10 invert for the second one. So we'll get the Radicals underway very shortly, and then we will go across to the GT4s from Zandvoort. But there is your track on screen at the moment. Not the usual oval. We are road, as I said. We are in USA in Loudon with a track length of 2.49 kilometres, temperatures 23 degrees Celsius tonight at an altitude of 148 metres. Partly cloudy with wind at 10 kilometres an hour. You can see myself there as you hear my dulcet tones. Aidan Schultz, good evening to everyone tuning in on the GSRC platforms, and of course the man pushing the buttons and in the commentary booth with me as always, making me look bad, actually. Daniel Courier-Sar, good evening to you, mate. We're back, round 8 for the Downforce Legends here, and part oval, part road in the Radicals. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a decent one. I'm not familiar with this track at all, so we'll see just what kind of racing it can provide us. I believe the GT1s raced here yesterday, actually. GT1's had a spin around here. I can already see by the times being set by our drivers tonight, we're looking in the 54 second mark. So it's a very, very quick lap, of course. It uses the South Oval for 2 parts of the course, and then a short little windy road section up the top just to throw some right turns into it. And yeah, these cars should be a cracker around here. I'm not too sure, but given the shape of the track, I think we're in for a good one.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, mate. As we saw Wayne Visser go off at the end of qualifying, I saw there through the change of directions. Very bumpy track, it looks like there too, and with a rigid car, this is going to be interesting. But we're setting the grid now for race 1 of 2 tonight on the Downforce Legends round 8 from New Hampshire road course. It is Brett Barker off the pole with Stuart Ellis outside the front row in P2. Mark Gomes and Guy Leach will start out of 3 and 4. Aidan Schwerker and Troy Davidson out of 5 and 6. Chris Stark and Wayne Visser out of 7 and 8. Phil King and Pete Mattermatson will round out your 10. Gary Wellman will start out 11th position here for race number 1, with Sean Rees out of the 12th position. So 13 cars at the moment, not seeing Michael Ladder on there at the moment. So it could just be a 12-car field here for race number 1, as we're about to go green flag racing very, very shortly. But I'm excited for this, mate. Radicals always put up some great racing. We've seen some great racing in the previous 7 rounds, and I don't expect any different tonight, albeit a little bit of a depleted field. I think it'll be some great racing. So the times at the top were quick there in qualifying and very close. No doubt we're not going to see anything different here for race number 1. It is an inverted top 10, I believe, as per always. We had a look at the server. We weren't quite sure, ladies and gentlemen, so I do apologise if it's not for race 2, but at this stage it is. But the lights are up, and we're about to go green for race number 1, and we'll just let you enjoy the Radicals for the first couple of turns. So everyone just acting really gentlemanlike there through that heavy right-hand braking section after they've completed that first oval section, Daniel. So now down into the change of direction of the track, and the elevation change you can see there, very, very prevalent here in these cars as well. So clean start at the moment. Pete Matson that you're on board with at the moment in 9th position, up 1 spot from 10th. So Pete Matson with a good start. Always a car just goes around in front of him. He does really good to avoid that. So not sure who that was. That was Michael Ladder, I believe, might have gone around him.
Looks like Wayne
Visser. Wayne Visser. Well, that was unfortunate for Wayne. So he'll want to make his way back forward. Obviously, reverse top 10. Quite a small field here tonight. So if he just makes his way back in the next 13 minutes, he could be starting off pole in the next one. Aidan Schwerker they're on board with at the moment. He's had some really good results in this series this year Daniel. So he's in 5th at the moment. He's been hassled on the inside there by Chris Stark. So he's had some really good results. So expect him to make his way forward as the night progresses and he gets his head around the track.
Well, looks like he breaks a little wide there, so that's going to allow Troy Davidson to shoot up on the inside. Schwerkart moves down into P6 now. And it's interesting. It seems that there's a little bit of, or I should say, a couple of little sections in the track that actually throw up some really good opportunities for passing. So the oval really does just become one big draft. Oh, as Aiden Schwerkart goes very wide and rejoins the circuit. Lucky not to end up in the pit lane there. But yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a bit of a draft battle going around the oval section. But as we come into the road course, their braking is going to be tested. We've already seen a handful of drivers lock up and accidentally go on adventures. So yeah, this should be better than I thought.
Yeah, and I apologise, mate. I just called that wrong. I didn't realise that was Davo, Troy Davidson, getting up the inside there of Aiden. So I thought that was Chris Stark, but that's Pete Matson you're on board with at the moment. That's Chris Stark just in front of him. So that's the battle for 8th and 7th on the track. And you can see Aiden just in the foreground there, up above them. We're already 2.5 minutes in, lap 3. So blink and you miss a lap here around New Hampshire on the road course. Only 56 seconds. So they're probably going to get in, I would suggest, with the standing start, about 16 laps. Possibly, Daniel, I'd say. So, but it's going to be a very frantic 16 laps.
Certainly is. Brett Barker doing a fantastic job at the moment. Still within 1 second is Stuart Ellis with him. 4P2. Brett Barker setting the fastest lap last go around, 55.44 seconds. Still trying to come to grips with the idea that it's a sub 1 minute lap here. And it actually really does test these cars quite well, because you've got a nice variety of corner types through the road section, and the layout seems to bait some of these drivers into committing harder than they should. So I wasn't too sure what to think of this track before coming in. I didn't even own it before tonight, but it's throwing up some good racing. So it's I'm very, very pleased.
Yeah, so am I, mate. I don't even own it. I'm just watching your stream at the moment. So I'm learning as this goes on. There's a lot of bumps, though. Maybe just stay on board with Pete Matson if we can. We'll give the viewers, well, we've got a chance just to have a look what it's like in a radical here around New Hampshire. So we'll stay quiet for a lap. Let the racing do the talking and enjoy a radical around the New Hampshire road course. Well, there is the best part of the lap on board with Pete Matson around the New Hampshire road course, as we did see Chris Stark have a little bit of an unfortunate moment. He kept it on track and he's ranging up on the back again as we're back to Aiden Schwerkart. But after watching that on board there, mate, because I own the oval, I actually got the road part and I have driven this before. So it has been a very long time, but I know the track now. So that's going to make it a little bit easier.
So we're 5 minutes in to the 15-minute session. Schwerkart just locking up again. It seems he's forgetting about the dirty air effect when following closely with another car. And again, that's what makes the Downforce Legends such a good series, is that there are so many little variables to keep track of. And sometimes when you're racing, the only variable you care about is, am I faster than the guy ahead of me? And you tend to slip up and forget all the other stuff around you. Aiden's doing a fantastic job here, tucking right up underneath. Just making sure that the gearbox is running nice and smoothly of the car ahead of him. He tries to shoot down on the inside. Curious to see if he'll be able to hold it. No. The oval will shoot him up to the top and he'll have to give up the position.
Sorry, mate. I thought he was going to go into the wall there. He got under the yellow and it really pushed the car up onto the outside of the exit. But what I'm seeing through the back end of the track with those changes of directions, the straighter you can keep that car by the looks of it, the better it'll be. But it does look like Aiden's very racy on the back of Troy Davidson at the moment. We're only 6 minutes in. Troy did make the move on him just a couple of laps earlier, but Aiden fighting back and trying to regain that one, and the longer they fight, that's going to allow Gomes to make his way further up the road as well. Look out for Pete Matson in the background too. He's the biggest movers of this race, up 3 after starting 10th, and he's actually showing some pretty good lap times at the moment. He was actually quicker than the 2 in front of him the last time around, so keep one eye out on Pete Matson in the 173 as this race progresses into about half race distance.
So the interesting part of this, as Aiden shoots down on the inside, locks up again, pulls the car up well, but I don't know if he'll have the speed to keep the position. He doesn't. Troy Davidson will go right up around and stay ahead. Aiden's going to try and look again on the inside, but see, the car gets unsettled. He has to pull it back. Troy's doing a really good job defensively here. He's trying to bait Aiden into those uncharacteristic moves, and for now, Aiden's falling for it, so he really does have to try and get his head above that. Oh, you might have actually had a better exit this time round. We'll see. They just snake through the last part of that road section back onto the start of the oval, and Aiden will stay behind, but if he can get a decent draft, he might be able to catch him towards the back end. And where the oval really does test your mettle is you're tempted to put your foot to the floor and then extend all the way to the top part of the line, but the top part of the line is where all the marbles are, so you lose your grip. And if you stay too far on the inside, you'll do what he did last time, which is dip into the yellow and it shoots you back up and towards the wall as he brakes late again. And that's given Troy a big gap that is now up to 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, I saw there that Aiden, he just caught his left-hand rear on the grass on the outside of the entry of that turn under braking and really did a good job to correct the snap oversteer there to get it into the corner. But 1.2 seconds down the road he goes. Sean Rees now having a great battle here with, I believe that's Gary Wellman, I believe. So Sean Rees getting the move done on Gary Wellman, making his way up into the 10th position. And this will, at this rate, mate, if it stays this way, Gary Wellman will be off the pole for race number 2, if it is the reverse top 10, as we usually see. No fuel stops tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks again for tuning in here on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club streams, wherever that be, through the platforms of Facebook, YouTube, and of course, thanks to all our sponsors. We'll go through that as the night does progress. Long night ahead of us, but now 9 minutes in, 10 laps into 15 minutes, and your leader on screen is Brett Barker, and he's got a nice healthy 2-second lead, or best part of, over Stuart Ellis at the moment and Guy Leach. And Stuart Ellis and Guy Leach have been up the front all season, and so has Brett, but Brett showing a clean set of heels at the front so far early in race number 1.
And just look at how the evolution of that gap as it's progressed all the way from lap 4 to lap 9, from a 0.9 to 2.1. So he has very steadily just increased that gap lap after lap. You can see there over the past, 0.021, 0.012, and all the way up to 7/10 on lap 10. The difference between Barker and Ellis, it is absolutely substantial. And so at this pace, once we hit that 15-minute mark, Brett Barker might actually be 4 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. He is linking these corners better than anyone else out there at the moment, and having a look at where everyone is in terms of time, the only person within battle or attack range of the car in front is Aiden Schweikart at the moment. He's below that 1 second mark, trying to chase back down Troy Davidson. Hopefully this time round he'll have a better shot at it.
Yeah, we'll see what Aiden's got. It's actually the closest battle on track at the moment, apart from possibly, it's actually the closest battle on track at the moment. So 0.3 seconds is the visual margin you can see, the battle between 5th and 6th. So the difference is starting 5th or 6th in the second race. So Aiden looking racy, I think, it's whether he can get that racecraft to be able to make the move done. I know Troy Davidson raced a lot against him. He's not going to make it easy, and as he shouldn't. So we'll see how we go. Aiden ranging up onto the back of him through that right-hander. He's got to get on that power nice and easy. You can see the correction of oversteer as he's trying to get on the power and up the gears, down into the very fast left-hander, very much Zandvoort-like, and out of the corner he goes. Troy's doing a great job. He's just keeping him at arm's length at the moment, but still 4 minutes to go. So around here, that's going to be 4 laps. They might get in 5. No, they'll probably only get 4 in where they are on the track. Aiden's really looking racy, so he's got to be careful here. He's got the pace. can he try and use the pace? So we've used the term in motorsport. It's all easy being able to catch the guy in front if you've got pace, but passing them is a different story. And we're seeing this tonight with Aiden trying to get the job done over Troy. So we'll see whether it does happen, mate. But with only 3.5 minutes to go, I'm sure Aiden's going to have a lunge at some point. Where that will be, I have no idea.
There could also be another factor here at play, and Josh Swindle and Race Control, who's had the easiest night I have ever seen for a Race Control, might be able to back me up on this. But I believe that Aiden Schweikart had a significant amount of license penalty points over the course of the season. And so he's come back from a week vacation, I think. And so that might be playing on his mind not to make incredibly crazy dives because he wouldn't want to get another infringement.
Yeah, how you going, guys? Most definitely. So Aiden has come back, and the way that our system works, he now is on a good behaviour bond kind of time, and he has 5 safety points total to play with in every other series, and he's pretty much just on good behaviour. So he is taking due care everywhere he can, and by the looks of it, he is thriving impeccably clean at the moment. So props to him. It's never great having to tell someone to have a week away from our racing, but when you come back and you're putting on a show like this, yeah, it's good to see.
Look, we all make mistakes. I'll put my hand up. I've done it too, and we're all human. But he served the penalty, and he's out there again going, and he just made the move around the outside, if you don't mind, around Troy Davidson through the oval section. So he had the pace. He had a look at it for a couple of laps. He knew where the car was faster, and he obviously utilised that. And now he's got the job done up into the 5th position over Troy Davidson. Only a couple of minutes left. Under 2, to be honest, Daniel. So Brett Barker, he's now out to the front by nearly 4 seconds. A little bit pedestrian-like at the front with a lot of gaps. That was the best battle on the track at the moment. Troy might want to come back to him later in the race. We'll see. But at the moment, it looks like he 1, 2, 3, 4. It's pretty much tied up here for race number 1. Bar anything going wrong, of course.
Yeah, I was actually conservative with my guess. I really thought he'd be at the 4-second mark, but he might blitz by that. It seems as though Stuart Ellis has been having some decent sectors. If we actually have a look at the sector timings throughout the lap, you can see there that Ellis was actually faster in sectors 2 and 3, and that's brought that gap back down. We'll wait until Ellis crosses the line here and just have a look. Now he is slower by 100th of a second through the last sector. So Brett Barker's managed to shoot it up to 4 seconds, but then loses in the road course section. So I wonder if maybe I'm on the money. We'll see if he finishes with 4 exactly, but I have a feeling, let's see, there's at least another lap left in the race. If I cut over to Barney, I wonder if I can see a yellow, white flag. I can't, so no, it'll be next time by. But
Barney's on holidays again, mate. Wednesday night on holidays. Can't see him.
So yeah, we'll see if Stuart Ellis can maintain those middle sectors and keep him at the 4-second mark. But yeah, I have a feeling that maybe over the next lap he'll shoot past maybe 4.5.
Yeah, possibly. What I'm interested to see in the second race as this race wraps up is Stuart Ellis can stay on the back, even though they're going to be in a different position on the racetrack. If he can stay on the back of Brett through the traffic, different things, it looks like they've got different strengths and weaknesses through the different sections of the track. So they've obviously learnt a lot in race number 1, and we're going to see a lot of different driving from all the drivers in race 2. So that's really interesting from my perspective. But we've got the last lap, and we're about to... Oh, we go back on a replay of Michael Ladder. Oh, just pinched the rears there on turn in and rotated, but all fair in love and more, and he keeps going. But last lap at the moment, and it is Brett Barker leading the way, and he looks like he's going to win race number 1 here for round number 8 of the Radicals here from New Hampshire Road Course. And across the line he comes as Barney is there. Barney's woken up and he's waving the checkered flag. So Barney's not on holidays, he's not on hiatus, and Ellis comes across the line in 2nd place, and Guy Leach, you can see there, in 3rd. Mark Gomes in 4th as we watch them all come across the line. But, mate, as they do that, looks like Aiden Schweikart has held on for the 5th position over Troy Davidson. That was the best battle on track all race for race number 1. And now it looks like Pete Matson comes across the line. Pete Matson got Troy Davidson at the end of that one, so Troy must have had an issue. So Pete Matson with the best driver race number 1 from 10th to 6th. So that'll put him out of 4th in race number 2. Gary Wellman coming across in 10th position. Phil King coming home in 11th. And Visser and Ladder laps down, so obviously in pit lane. But before we bring up race number 2, we'll go through the finishing positions here for race number 1, round number 8 of the Downforce Legends. And it was Brett Barker with quite a convincing win, 4.19 seconds up the road from Stuart Ellis. Guy Leach, a further 2 seconds down the road in 3rd. Mark Gomes brings home 4th. Aidan Schwerkart with a great drive there in 5th. Pete Matson with the driver race number 1 up to 6th from 10th. Troy Davidson in 7th. Chris Stark in 8th. Sean Rees 9th. Gary Wellman in 10th. Bill King, the last of your finishers, in 11th. And Wayne Visser and Michael Ladder out of 12th and finished in 12th and 13th rather. But we are about to go across to race number 2. Of course, thank you again for everyone tuning in on our platforms, the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. We will take the opportunity really, really quickly to just mention a couple of the sponsors. Lobesy Racing, Login Systems, Player One Sim Gear, jump across to them for all your sim gear options. Orbic, of course, M-Wave down the bottom. You can see I'm looking at them at the top. They're coming across the bottom. Orbic, I'll keep going with the ones on the bottom while the guys do get ready to grid up. I've previously mentioned Waste Options, Lobesy Racing, heavily involved in the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, Player One Sim Gear, as I mentioned as well. Jump onto them, p1simgear.com.au. Sprayton Cider, a new sponsor to the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. So a big thank you to Sprayton Cider, non-alcoholic cider. Jump on and support them, support the club, that support the people that support the club. But race number 1, mate, that was great. Looking forward to race number 2.
Yeah, hopefully that first race is actually taught, or some of the drivers have learned a little bit around the course. Maybe we'll be able to see them keep the gaps a lot further down. As you said previously, earlier today, there is no scheduled pit stops for the Downforce Legends. It is a flag to finish sprint. So we'll see if they'll be able to keep those gaps to a minimum, or if Brett Barker will be able to shoot across and win by an even larger margin for this 25-minute race.
Yeah, we will. He's had the pace. Obviously, he's shown that pace in race 1, but it is a reverse top 10. I can see it. So they're going to have a lot of work cut out to get there first. So it will be Gary Wellman off the pole with Sean Rees out of P number 2. Chris Stark out of P3. Troy Davidson will start this second and final race tonight out of P4. Pete Matson, the drive of race number 1, out of P5, and Aidan Schwerkart there in 6th. Mark Gomes, the 4th position getter in race 1, out of 7th. Guy Leach, your 3rd place getter, out of 8th. Stuart Ellis in 9th, and Brett Barker, your race 1 winner, out of 10th. Phil King will start out of 11th. Wayne Visser out of 12th, and out of the 13th position will be Michael Ladder, who's not coming up on the list at the moment. He might have started from pit lane in the first one and made a mistake or something, not sure. But we're about to go green for race number 2. It will be Gary Wellman, Sean Rees off your front row. The lights come up. Here we go. Who's going to get this reverse top 10? We're about to find out in 25 minutes time. The revs rise and we are green. Gary Wellman goes nowhere off the start. They're going to go 3 wide down into the first oval section, but Gary Wellman couldn't get off the line at all. Looks like Sean Rees had a great jump on the inside there as they make their way through turn number 1. They'll come into the first heavy braking zone. Will they get through there? Ooh. Nice and gentlemen, like Gary Wellman, very late on the brakes, did a good job not to get into the car in front of him. So Gary Wellman, your your pole sitter, or 2 cars around as well. We just need to we'll unpack that in a minute, but Gary Wellman, not the best start off the pole. He's dropped quite a few positions back into 7th, and he'll be looking to make his way forward. But yeah, a few instances for some people there on the first lap, mate.
Yeah, Gary Wellman obviously locked up, trying to avoid the car ahead of him, as there is another car off that looks like Sean Rees. Gary Wellman goes sideways as well, and he's been caught out. So that's at least 3 or 4 cars in the first lap that have had an adventure off track, and they'll rejoin safely there, not to impede anyone else. Brett Barker also moves up 6 positions gained already in 1 lap. But he is wasting absolutely no time, as it looks like he'll shoot up on the inside of Pete Matson there. and gain yet another position on his charge to the front. So the incident that happened at the front was actually Mark Gomez. He, if we have a look here, so goes up on the inside, everything's okay, and gets tapped and just shoots round there. Now, luckily that was on the inside of the course, and all the cars will try to go naturally to the outside so he avoids any larger incident. And then there were a couple others. Look at Chris Stark went off track, Sean Reese as well, Gary Wellman got caught up with that, and then Troy Davidson also went off track just a bit later than that. So Aiden Schweikart is leading this motor race at the moment. Guy Leach in P2, but Brett Barker is coming for the front of this motor race, and those two ahead better be paying attention. Having said that, Aiden Schweikart is the fastest car on track with a 56.064 to set the fastest lap.
Yeah, Aiden will be liking being at the front, but he won't want to be mirror driving because Leach and Barker will be coming. I'll guarantee you that. They didn't finish at the end or finish at the front of the first sprint race for no reason. So they're going to be coming for him very, very quickly, and the interval is slowly dropping down. Not as quick as I thought it may have. Aiden's obviously got his head around the track. He likes a bit of clear air, and he's got nothing to worry about but the racetrack in front of him. Brett Barker is going to try and follow Guy Leach, I'd suggest, but if he gets an opportunity, he's going to try and make a move as well because he's got the pace. So we'll see if these two guys can make some inroads over the next 23 minutes on Aiden. But a long time to go, mate. 23 minutes in such a short lap time of only 55 seconds, not even a minute. We'll see what happens. So this was first and second in the opposite position for race number one. But Aiden is opening that gap at the front, so feeling a little bit comfortable, I'd suggest, but a long way to go, as I did mention, mate.
Guy Leach might be not putting in the numbers that he'd want, but Brett Barker certainly is. Having a little look at the lap time differences, 2/10 faster on that second lap, almost 5/10 faster, half a second on the third lap, and he's already dropped the gap to 0.3, so Aiden Schweikart might be getting away from Guy Leach, but if Guy Leach makes one more mistake, Brett Barker will be able to get past him, and I am sure that he'll be able to claw down that gap that Aiden has made. He also set the fastest lap the last go around, 55.4. Based on that exit, he might not be able to do it this time around, but we'll see. There's the timing line there. He crosses. So Aiden with a 55.5. Brett Barker with a 55.7. So that was slower across the board for everyone there in the top three. As Stuart Ellis is also in attack range of Pete Matson.
Yeah, these guys at the moment in second and third, they'll work together, I think, there, but we'll see what happens. Oh, Pete Matson there. Ellis with a big moment trying not to collect the back of Pete Matson. So very good from him there to not make that a bigger accident than what it is. So they'll reset and re-go again. Pete Matson up to fourth, Ellis up to fifth position. Mate, we've got a special guest that's joined us in the broadcast booth. Not the way that he would want to be talking to us, I would suggest, but Chris Stark, good evening to you, mate. Not the way you wanted to start your feature race tonight, mate.
No, not the best start. I got a good start off the line, and then going up the hill, just lost the rear end, and I'm just glad I didn't take anybody else out.
Well, mate, explain the incident. We did show it on the replay, or actually more so to the point. A little bit of a different track that most people are used to, New Hampshire. Obviously, it's oval based through the NASCAR ranks, and it's a stalwart on the NASCAR calendar, but it's got the road configuration. How did you find that one tonight? Obviously the Radical a little bit different around there, but the track as a whole and everything, how did you find it?
It's not the first time I've raced this particular course. I do enjoy it. I've done it in the GT, I think it was GT4s last time we did it. The Radical is just a little bit too bumpy. Obviously some of the boys have been practicing. I sort of jumped in last minute. I got that good start. I thought, yep, I'm going to stick in third, and just lit up the rears with cold tyres, cold brain.
And we see that obviously you're talking to us, so that's lights out for tonight.
Yeah, that's me for tonight. I think I'll have a rest and go and practice for Monday night supercars.
So not backing us up for the GT4s later tonight, mate. Just going to put it in the virtual shed for a couple of days and go practice for supercars.
Yeah, got to go spend some time with the wife and go pick up the new van tomorrow, so early night for me.
Mate, don't blame you there. Unfortunate, you were doing great there on that that second race until that happens. It's so easy for that to happen. But Daniel, mate, well, Chris is here. Before we let him go and do home duties and get ready for his week ahead and next week, anything you want to have a chat to him about?
Nah, mate. Just an unfortunate race for you, I guess, there, and hopefully you'll have better luck next week.
Yeah, I think my luck ran out in race 1 where I just missed the back of Vissa.
Yeah.
Well, Starkey, unlucky, mate. You go and enjoy, and no doubt you'll be back bigger and stronger next week. But thanks for taking your time out to jump up and have a chat to us, mate.
Thanks, boys. Thanks to all the sponsors, and you're putting on a good show.
No worries. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Chris Stark. Unfortunate tonight as Troy Davidson into the back there. So, Daniel, I'll let you take over for a bit. You've been following the cams while I've been talking to Chris. So, yeah, I'll let you take over a bit. But Troy Davidson, he's had a pretty adventurous race so far.
Yeah, looks like he just caught out with, just couldn't pull the car up enough. Absence goes for a spin. Unfortunate for him, he'll drop down now. 5 positions lost from the start of this race. And he was looking in a good spot to try and get past. I think it was Pete Matson that he was trying to climb up there, but now he's dropped down. Looks like Mark Gomez is now the only car on track within attack range of everyone else. He's chasing down Paul King. It was Paul King, actually. Troy Davidson.
No, you're right, mate.
I'm looking at the event log at the same time as trying to do this, and it looks like Stuart Ellis has actually just had an off as well. So we'll have a look at that in just a moment as Mark Gomez, here we go, just trying to see if he can get the draft, try and tuck in through the left-hander, tries to take a shorter line on the inside. The only problem is it means you do have to pull up a little bit earlier, so it's not the fastest line. As they'll just stay right behind as they move into the sharp rights. Oh, that's
Kingy's doing a great job here in the second race, mate. He's started out of 11th, up into 6th. He's doing a Pete Matson from race number 1. So Kingy would be happy with this, currently sitting in the 6th position, but he does have Gomez, or Gomes, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, all over the back of him. So he'll have one eye in the mirror. But this is a good little battle. But Kingy will be happy with where he sits so far in the race.
Yeah, the damage on the rear wing probably isn't helping at all. But he is doing a good job defensively. And Mark is trying to find a chink in the armour, and he doesn't seem to be able to do so at the moment. 8 minutes 42 down, so we still have way more than half of the race to go. He is still just following behind. Aiden Schweikart is still in the lead of the race with a 2-second gap. And having a look at the last lap times, Brett Barker is faster, but not by much. 0.2 is the difference there, so a 2.1 second gap between them. I'm curious to see if Aiden will be able to hold him off till the end of the race, but we still have plenty more to go.
Yeah, and we've seen how easy it is to make just that little mistake. So still a long way to go, a lot to unpack here, but we go on to the replay with Stuart Ellis with his moment he had just a little bit earlier.
He took too much of the curb there. Yep, he hit the turtle. Slid off.
Can't turn when your front tyres are in the air, mate. So
unless you have a full.
Well, yes.
And Mark Gomes goes 2-dub. He does exactly the same thing that Troy Davidson did. Ends up in the back of Phil King. Phil King must be getting really annoyed with the amount of rear-end collisions he's been involved in.
Has he still got his rear wing?
Status update. Yes, but it is
a bit pan.
It's a bit wonky.
That's all right. It's still on, so it's still doing a job. We will check in. I don't know whether. I know Josh is in here. You don't have to talk to us straight away, mate, because I know you've probably got some stuff going on. But we will check in on some of the incidents to see whether there has been anything to play out on race control. Daniel, you threw him under the bus for race number 1 and said he had the easiest race control night, and there's been a few incidents. So, what are you going to say, mate? Come on now.
Yeah, no, I'd still put it under a relatively easy night. So I've reviewed quite a few of these, and if they haven't been self-policing, no one's dobbed anyone in, which is always polite. But what was I going to say? No, I was just noting, like, who was it? Phil. I know he's in a motion simulator, and he keeps getting knocked around. So he must be having a hell of a time, because this looks like a bumper configuration for him.
Yeah, well, now I know he's in a motion simulator. Sorry, Daniel. Now I know he's in a motion simulator. He's going to need a rest after this one. My goodness. So I tell you what, 15, 20 minutes is hard enough for me to do in a non-motion simulator, let alone doing it in a motion simulator. But he's doing a great job, up 5 positions from his starting positions. So finished 11th in race 1. We see him now in 6th place as well. Pete Matson still, he's sort of having a bit of a lonely race, although he
Yo!
Oh, no, there's the commentator's curse. What a save. No harm, no foul. We keep going. The 0-3 keeps making his way around the track. But I did reference Pete Matson. He had the best drive in race 1, did have a good starting position of 4th in race 2, and he's sort of held that at the moment, and he's in the 5th position. But that gap at the front has sort of just ballooned out a tiny bit. They're sort of exchanging fastest laps at the moment, Daniel. So not what I expected to see. I expected Brett to possibly close down the gap a little bit quicker. Leachy dropping off that battle as well. Stuart Ellis in 4th. So we'll see what it is next time around, but the number 2 there, Aidan Schwerkert, doing a great job. He's keeping that gap pretty stagnant to the 2nd place at the moment. It's sort of undulating between the 2.5 second, 2.6 seconds to down to 2.2, 2.1 through the middle of the track through the change of direction. So we're about to go half race distance in a second. We're about there now, actually, in about 8 seconds time. So no fuel to the end, sitting at 2.6. You can see it ebbing and flowing at the top there. Aidan doing a great job, and last time around, he was actually a 55 flat, Aidan was, as opposed to a 55.5 from Brett Barker. So put a half a second on him last lap around.
Yeah, looking at the lap times here over the last 5, Barker was faster, lap 9, 10, 11, but that gap started to come down, and then from lap 12, Schweikart was faster, 300th, lap 12, and then of course a massive 0.487 on that last lap round as he crosses the line now. We'll see if the gap continues. Barker crosses the line, and what's the update? 1/10. Okay, so not as drastic, but still slower. So the 2.66 margin does keep creeping up, but Brett does have another 12 or so minutes left to try and claw this back. But if Aidan keeps at this pace, he should be able to hold on to the line.
Yeah, not quite enough margin taken out of Aidan by Brett. So 10th of a second just isn't going to do it. We've got probably another 13, 14 laps. That'd be 1.3 seconds, which would only half the margin. So we'll just keep an eye on that as we go back to Mark Gomez and Phil King still having this battle. You can see Phil, the back end of his car, looking a little second hand. So he's doing a great job to keep it in front of Mark at the moment. I wouldn't expect that to last too much longer, I'd suggest, as Mark has a big dive down the inside and gets the job done. Phil just opens the steering wheel, and that is a move for P6 on the racetrack.
Yeah, Phil really didn't want to fight that one at all, it seems. Stayed well and true to the right and allowed Mark to just shoot up on the inside and get away with it. Phil maybe not keen on getting hit from the back again, acknowledging that Mark just has the pace on him around the track, and so decided that it wasn't his race. So Mark now free to try and chase down Pete Matson, but that is an 8-second gap, so I have a feeling that he'll be racing solo to the end, unless he slips up in some fashion, in which case Phil might actually be able to come back and fight him for this one. But unfortunately, with that pass being made, that now means that everyone on track is more than a second from their nearest competitor. And so right now, it is just a very lengthy parade.
Yeah, it's a little bit processional at the front at the moment, and if I was Zach, I'd be able to fill the gaps, but it's a little bit processional. Brett Barker in second at the moment. As we could try and get our inner Zach out. We could start talking about, we do have the cricket on tonight, mate, the Cricket World Cup, don't we? So we've got New Zealand versus India, and they would actually be on stream at the moment. So Cricket World Cup tonight, first of the 2 semi-finals. That'll be good. It's looking there might be a bit of a washout for the second one for Australia and South Africa tomorrow night with a 50% chance of rain. But I did hear also that because they've got days left in the World Cup schedule, that possibly if it does get washed out halfway through, they could just reset, not replay the game, but play it from where it is on the Wednesday. So getting into the back end of the World Cup in the big games, 2 semi-finals, and the first of those tonight, New Zealand versus India. India's had a great World Cup so far, boys, and they've gone undefeated. So I personally don't expect that to change tonight, but anything is possible. but Brett Barker up into the second position at the moment. So he was still keeping in the second position, and that gap is not really changing, Daniel. So sitting about at 2.7, it's actually slowly extending, if I was to be completely honest, and now nearly out to 3. As Troy Davidson making his way back through the field after a couple of incidents earlier. His teammate Gary Wellman, after starting off the pole in this first race, up the inside of Phil King. Phil King doesn't want to borrow it. Oh, Wellman's gone down to the inside, and Wellman might be going to pit lane. Or he's just let them pass, not sure, but he's dropping off the timesheets like a lead balloon. So Gary Wellman's gone, and Davidson and King is the battle now for 7th and 8th on the racetrack, Daniel.
Yeah, not too sure exactly what happened there. Gary Wellman went up on the inside and then just completely backed out. And I wonder if he's had a hardware failure?
Yeah, he's completely gone off the radar. So we'll have a look at that on the replay. Wellman's in the black car on the inside. He'll go down under the apron. Like, he gets in okay. Yeah, that's either an equipment failure or he might have had a meatball, I don't know, but he's obviously not been able to do something, so
Still in
he's
fifth,
just...
so he can't shift. And there's no accelerator. And now the car's off. Okay.
That's not done for Gary. That's very unfortunate
there we
for
go.
Gary. He did a great job, though. He can still see, obviously, but he did a great job to keep that out of trouble. So,
oh, what a moment to cut back. There we go. Troy Davidson just sliding it out, joining on to the road course. That's actually going to be great for who's that? That's the leader. That's
the
Aiden
leader.
Schwerker. So he's just been lapped, unfortunately. Oh, and he hits the bump again! Don't rejoin badly. Oh, yeah. Right, he's fine.
Down to 2.4 seconds at the front. The gap to the leaders now, mate. So just closed a little bit. Last time around, though, still pretty even on lap time. So we'll see. I'm sure Brett's trying, and I'm sure he's trying to get to the back of him. It's a fight of two at the front, and it's the closest battle apart from Gomez and Matson. Actually, Mark Gomes, I don't know if it's Gomez or Gomes, but Mark is actually closing down on Pete Matson, and I can visually see that interval closing very, very quickly, as we'll keep on board with Brett Barker just for a while, but just keep an eye on your tower on the left-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, in that battle between 5th and 6th as we watch Brett try and close the gap on your leader, Aiden Schwerker. 19 minutes into 25, 6 minutes to go, which will mean we're about 7 laps to go until we'll crown the winner for race number 2 here in the feature race, or sprint feature race, for the Downforce Legends. Round number 8 from New Hampshire, the road course, not the oval course. Don't get confused, you NASCAR fans. We're on the road course and we're in a radical. So 5.5 minutes to go, mates, and it's been pretty good. So I'm looking forward to, if you are all tuning in, though, everyone tuning in here on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club streams, like I always say, whether it be across our platforms of YouTube or Facebook, I'm looking forward to bringing you the GT4s. We're not over here in the Downforce Legends, the Radicals, at the moment, but GT4s is something to look forward to. If you like GT racing, do not turn off your goggle boxes, as they say, or goo-goo boxes, as my parents told me when I grew up. It's going to be great viewing, and it's going to be GT4s for round number 8. But we've only got 5 minutes left here for the Downforce Legends. It's Schwerker, Barker and Leach, your top 3. It looks like that's all said and done. Gomes got that down to under a second nearly now too, Daniel, so we'll keep an eye on that because that's the closest battle on track with only 5 minutes to go, but 1.6 it's down to now, so he's coming for him. Here we go, 4.5 minutes to go. He's put the loud pedal down and he's down to 1.6 seconds between your leader of Aiden Schwerkart and Brett Barker. 4.5 minutes, we'll keep an eye on that. 1.6 is the gap. Last time around, 54.993 from Brett Barker as opposed to a 55.577 from your leader. So that loud pedal was smashed. 54.963 is the quickest lap from Brett Barker this race so far. So we went 0.003 of a second off his quickest lap, and he put the loud pedal down, trying to chase down your leader Aiden Schwerkart, and he's doing that, and it's visibly now getting closer and closer, Daniel.
Yeah, he's managed to bring it down to almost a second there, so the draft will become available to him once they hit the oval section. Aiden's going to have to pay a lot of attention in the next upcoming laps because Brett is the one with all the advantage here, and so Brett will also be thinking a couple of corners ahead. He'll be thinking, where is the best place for me to put my car? Where's the best place for me to pass? And how do I do this without throwing it all away? So Aiden will have the job of trying to make the radical 70 meters wide, and Brett Barker will try and have the job of making it faster, or at least fast enough to be able to cut off any of the defensive moves that Aiden can throw at him. And it's just floating. The gap is floating here at around the 1.2 mark, so Aiden's doing okay at the moment, but he had a shocker a couple of laps ago, 5/10. So Brett Barker lost 5/10 earlier on in the race, and then Schweikart lost 5/10, actually 5.8. Sorry, 0.58, if I want to be specific, as they come around to set another lap again. We start lap 25. We have about 3 minutes left in the session, and the gap is floating. So if we have a look at that last one, 5.523 meter 5.514. So Brett Barker is faster, but the gap that he is faster by is shrinking. So maybe Aiden can hold on to the end of this race, but only time will tell. We only have a handful of laps to go, and then that answer
They're
will
responding, mate. They're responding. I'm sorry to cut you
right.
short there, but they're responding on lap times. Every time that Brett does a quicker lap time, Aiden puts his eyes forward, and he does a similar one. And he was only a tenth slower last time around. So this is a game of cat and mouse. Aiden knows he's coming. He gets into his slipstream or close to, and he can see him there, and then he'll put his foot down and respond. So it's a game of cat and mouse at the moment. It's getting a little bit too late for Brett, would think. It's easy enough to catch, but can he make the pass done? We'll have a look when they come across the line. It's now gone to under a second, and this time around 55.408 to a 55.105, so 3/10 this time out of your race leader's lead by Brett Barker. Will Aiden respond this time around? I've seen it the last 3 laps he has. We'll see whether he does. It's gone out to over a second now, you can see it, but that'll ebb and flow as they go through the change of directions. Brett Barker, it looks like he's got a little bit of a better race car at the moment in the back end of this race, and will he be able to get back? It's one thing, will he be able to get to the back of him quick enough? Will he be able to make the pass? He's really trying with a lot of snap oversteer there on exit. We're still under a second. Really driving it in hard through this long downhill left-hander into the change of the direction right-hander. Through the double left, right, left onto the main straight.
Oh, sliding the car.
And yeah, big time, and down to 8/10. So Aiden doing a great job. We've got under a minute to go, and we've got less than a second between your leaders. Last time around, 1:55.146, another 10th taken out of your leader by Brett Barker that time around, but it's not quite enough this late in the race.
Yeah, just having a look at the gap markers on your screen at the moment. So it went from a 2.4 second gap down to 0.9 from laps 20 to 25. It's a significant amount that Brett has managed to take out of Aiden at the front. You can see green across the board from lap 22 to 26. So Barker is definitely faster per lap, and he is really rapidly closing the gap. 0.6 now is the distance between the leader and Brett in P2. The problem is that he'll want to take into consideration when he wants to make the overtake.
Oh no, it's gone! That's it, he's gone! That's the battle
That's the
for
race.
first and second gone. Aiden Schwerkart, he has kept it. He was trying on that last lap. We didn't see Barney have the white flag, but that's how quick it can happen. Brett was really trying hard to get up the back there, but he saved it for second place. And Schwerkart and Barker, your first and second, Leach third, and Ellis fourth as they come across the line, mate. But I didn't realise Barney was waving the right flag there. I thought we'd get one more. Brett Barker trying real hard, just couldn't quite get to the back of him.
Yeah, so it looked like he was trying to get a little bit desperate, possibly try and make the move on the final corner. And yeah, just came unsettled. Still finishes in second, so it's nothing to, nothing to cry about. It's still a good position, but I could tell he was pushing intently, trying to get that top spot for both races. And unfortunately, just losing out there. But what a great drive from both of them. Aiden with a five position gain from the start of the race, and Brett Barker with 8.
Yeah, great job by both the boys there. Brett Barker starting out at the 10th position and Aiden starting mid-10 there, and I think it was the 5th position. But once he got the lead early, he utilised the fresh air and drove off into the distance. We did see that 2nd and 3rd did want to try and come back at him, but yeah, that was great racing in the Radicals tonight, mate. Can't wait to have a chat to a couple of boys in a second if they do make themselves available, but we'll just mute for a minute and enjoy some donuts in the Radicals before hopefully we can bring you some podium interviews. So while we're waiting for that, we'll just go through your final placings here for what was the sprint feature here, round number 8 of the GSRC Downforce Legends. As you saw, it was Aiden Schwerkart coming home with a hard-fought win in P1, Brett Barker P2, and Guy Leach rounding out your 3rd position. Stuart Ellis in 4th, Mark Gomes in 5th, Pete Matto-Matson, nice solid drive tonight for Pete. Well done to you, mate. Well done in 6th position. Phil King, a night that he had more hits than Elvis from behind in 6th. In 7th rather, Troy Davidson in 8th, Gary Wellman in 9th, Michael Ladder in 10th, Wayne Visser in 11th, Chris Stark in 12th, and Sean Rees with an unfortunate start to that race, coming home in the 13th position. So we do have your race winner up into the broadcast booth. Aiden, mate, good to see you. Interesting race number 1. Very interesting race number 2 from a broadcast perspective, mate. Another win in the Radicals, mate, in the Downforce Legends. You've got to be happy with that, mate. Great drive there in that feature race.
Yeah, thank you. It was, I got a bit lucky with that start. It was the best start I've gotten for weeks, and I was just able to get a gap on the fast guys behind. But then I was just able to hold off Brett towards the end.
He was coming fast in the last couple of laps, mate. Were you finding it hard not to drive in your rear vision mirror? You were exchanging laps there, probably about 5 or 6, 7 laps from the end. It felt like he'd do a quick lap, then you'd put down a quick lap, and then he'd return serve. Then it'd be 40 all and juice, and you'd return serve. And then he really put the skates on at the end and drove up to the back of your car. So did you think he had anything for you at the end of that one? Or we thought we had one more to go. We underestimated that with Barney, but he was putting the screws on you late in that one.
Yeah, he really was. My tyres dropped off severely towards the end. I had no grip. And you're right, I was looking in the rear view for a lot of those, like the last 3 laps, but I was just lucky this isn't an easy track to overtake.
Well, Daniel, over to you, mate. Have a bit of chat to young Aiden. He's obviously been right up the front in the Downforce Legends this season. Unfortunately, couldn't be there last week and come back and shown why he's been at the front of this series for so long over these first 7 rounds.
Yeah, thanks, Aiden. I just realised you both named Aiden. That was a trip. So, Racer Aiden, with the first race, I do have a question for you. You were stuck behind Troy Davidson for a while, and it looked like you were trying to make moves, and then it wasn't really working, and then you were getting hard on the brakes and locking up. I'm just curious, was that a little bit of hesitation from you due to the previous license points that you'd accrued?
Yeah, there was a bit there. It's also the fact that this track is so hard to overtake. It really, the only good overtaking point is outside of turn 1 or into turn 2. But into turn 2, I made a couple of mistakes and either went a bit deep because I was a bit scared that I might have a little touch-up, which, yeah, that's the hesitancy that you're talking about.
Yeah, we noticed it a little bit. We just thought, there were some moments where you could have tried to dive on the inside, but you chose against it. Again, there were another couple where you did lock up those brakes. Luckily, you didn't spin or hit anybody. You just lost some time, and then you managed to bring it back on the next lap. But I will say this, based on both your performances tonight, the racecraft is right up there, mate. I'm well and truly impressed with not only your pace, but how you planned in that first race to make that move, because it wasn't working for you on those first couple of laps, but then you got the handling back on the car, and then you actually made the move around towards turn 1. You actually went on the high side and got it cleanly done, and then through the road course. So yeah, very impressed. Well done there.
Thank you. I have some real life practice in that, and that's something I do practice a lot in my karting. So it was just, I was hoping to get through a bit faster, but I'm just happy I did it cleanly anyway.
Excellent, mate. And there you go. There's a testament to you. The cars might be virtual, but the racing is well and truly real. And yeah, again, mate, just an excellent job all around tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll second that, mate. Amazing mega drive tonight. I've raced against you a lot. And not only you're a great driver, you're a great young man, mate. So big congratulations tonight. You should hold your head up high.
Thanks. See you guys.
See you, mate. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Aiden Schwerkart. He didn't want to hang around to talk about any sponsors or anything by the sound of that. He's still in here if he does want to, but he was your winner for the sprint feature here for round number 8 of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club Downforce Legends. Daniel, that brings that to an end. But it's not all done here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club streams, because we're going to go away and have a little bit of a break. But we're about to bring you GT4's round number 8 from Zandvoort. Can't wait for that one. We do have Pete Matson up into the broadcast booth. Pete, will be really quick with this one before we wind up the stream and have a little bit of a breather before we bring the GT4s to all the viewers. But Pete Matson, mate, driver of the night in race number 1 from where you were, and held on to a good result in race number 2, the feature. You've got to be happy with that, mate.
Mate, absolutely stoked. And I think last night at the committee meeting we were discussing 0 incident points. Gets you some maybe some additional positions. So I had an incident-free race. So yeah, really happy with the result.
Yeah, well done, mate. It's not just about incident-free. It was obviously really great to go incident-free, but you obviously had some pace there tonight, and didn't have the best qualifying to be where you were on the track to start with, but you had some good racecraft, made the moves where you needed to in race number 1. We didn't really see an incident in race number 1, so that was on pace. Race number 2, there were a couple of incidents early, but held on to your P5 starting spot. Lost 1 or 2, but went through, as you said, incident-free. You can't ask for a better night at the office, and the Radicals from that, mate.
No, there's a little bit of secret though. We raced this same track last night in the GT1s, so yeah, had a little bit of practice, I suppose.
Yeah, well, we didn't mention that in the broadcast, mate, but big congratulations. We won't cut you short, mate. Pete Matson, the treasurer of, or we'll have to cut you short rather, Pete Matson, the treasurer of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, mate, but great drive tonight. We look forward to seeing the GT4s if you're out there tonight, if you have time. But yeah, no, it was a great drive tonight, mate. Looking forward to you moving forward in the races if you are in the GT4s.
Yep, heading there now. Thanks, Aiden.
No worries, mate. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Pete Matson, the treasurer of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, with a nice solid night at the office. But Daniel, we might just go and have a breather before we bring all the viewers here on your streams of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, wherever you're tuning in on the platforms of our streams, whether it be Facebook or YouTube. Please don't go away. Go grab yourself a nice cup of tea, a coffee, a beer, whatever your beverage of choice is. Sit down, and we'll be back to bring you some amazing GT4 racing around the famous Zandvoort circuit here on your streams of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to your platforms, the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, where you're tuning around from Australia, New Zealand, around the world, wherever you are, across our platforms of Facebook and YouTube. We're back. We've gone Downforce Legends, Radical Racing. We're now GT4's, your location, Circuit Park Zandvoort. What a great track this is. Can't wait for this one tonight. Round number 8 of the GT4s here on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club stream. They've gone through qualifying at the moment, or about to go through qualifying, but we'll bring up your track conditions here, or your track information rather, ready for you guys to watch ahead of round number 8. So we are at Circuit Zandvoort, and the configuration is Long Grand Prix configuration. Country, Netherlands, and of course the city is Zandvoort. Track length is a little bit longer than the one we saw earlier, 4.21 kilometres in length. Temperature 22 degrees Celsius tonight, and only an altitude of 9 metres. Clear tonight, 29 degrees, 29 kilometre-hour winds, and 76% humidity. So, of course, me in the box, Aidan Schultz, the man you can hear right now, and Daniel Kriasar pushing the buttons. There is your championship standings at the moment. I can't quite see it. There we go. Jordan Malcolm comes into round number 8, 293 points. Only 1 point, if you don't mind, between first and second. Trent Lavers in second with 292. Gary Cousins and Sam Chapman with 251, 239. Richard King 226, and Jared Knight in 6th position with 223 points. So, Daniel, good evening to you again. Second time of asking. Have a look at that at the top. 293 to 292. It's definitely all to play for here for round number 8 at Zandvoort.
It is absolutely breakneck at the front there. Trent Lavers and Jordan Malcolm fighting it out. I can see both those two in the session, and wouldn't you know it, they are currently 1 and 2 at the top of the board. Trent Lavers seems to have taken the top spot with a 140.04, and Jordan Malcolm with a 140.09. So just, you can fit a piece of paper in between the gap there. So it should be a cracker of a race, and it is a 40-minute one for our competitors tonight. And so it'll be interesting to see how the pit strategies and everything develop over the course of that 40 minutes.
Yeah, and you couldn't write the script any better, as you do have your championship leader and second place holding the front row. It is Trent Lavers and Jordan Malcolm taking first and second here tonight for round number 8. Sam Chapman and Jared Knight will start out of 3 and 4. Mikey Hammond and Kurt Chapman out of 5th and 6th. Dale Sharp, Adam Lavers out of 7th and 8th. David Baz back in the sim. He's up there in 9th, and Sam Muir, one to look out for tonight in the 1-9 car out of 10. In 11th tonight will be Gary Cousins. Out of 12th will be Grant Gill. Mark Gomes, we saw him in the Downforce Legends before. He's in 13th. And Jake Jackson, another one to look out to make his way forward, starting out of the 14th position. In the 15th position tonight will be David Christensen. Paul Wood out of 16th. Blake Fitzpatrick in 17th. Craig Russell in 18th. Brett Bradbury, that's a bit of a tongue twister, sorry boys, out of 19th. Philip Butler, my teammate, starting out of 20th position. Hopefully he makes his way forward a little bit. Pete Matto Matson, who had a good run previously in the last broadcast in 21st. Russ Green in the 22nd position. So 22 cars on the grid by the looks of it at the moment. 40-minute race here for you, ladies and gentlemen. Round circuit. Sorry, I was looking at something else. My screen keeps... Yeah, okay, I'm good to go. All right, so around Circuit Zandvoort, so we're good to go. We've got a rolling start here tonight. As you can see, the pace car there, GT4s, they always do that. But how good is this, mate? Daniel, we had a look at the championship points. You can see them there on the front row. 1 point between Trent Lavers and Jordan Malcolm, and they are there on the front row. How good is this? Round 8's getting into the pointy end. They can't make mistakes. So we're about to see how it goes down. We're going to have pit stop strategies. Who's going to blink first? Who's going to want to lead the race? We're about to see that. We do see in GT4s and a lot of GT racing, sometimes sitting behind, saving a bit of fuel can help you as well. We've seen a particular master at that. So we'll see how that all plays out. But this is turning out to be a really exciting race, and I'm getting excited because 1 and 2 in the championship, off 1 and 2 here for round number 8. We couldn't ask for anything more here on the streams of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. I bet they're nervous. I'm nervous. Can't wait for it. And there's both of them there, ready to go, strapped into their virtual race cars. You couldn't write the script, could you?
No, not at the present. I am having trying to understand why they decided to go with a full lap formation. Usually we go from the final corner, or the last couple of corners, but they decided to go the entire lap, so that'll cut down on the 40 minutes substantially. But anyway, it is what it is. So Trent Lavis leading the field, and he'll be using this time to just get some heat into the tyres and brakes, make sure they're at optimum temperature. Sam Chapman there in P3 as well has been a strong shower for the majority of the GT4 series. It was a little bit unfortunate the last go around in Fuji, but we'll see if he can try and improve here tonight. Has a lot of experience in Zandvoort, of course, with the Formula V series visiting here and other official events that he's run. And let's not forget Jared Knight as well there in P4. Had a pretty strong showing the last time out as well. But all eyes will be on those front two. And I just want to do a quick scan of the field. No, I don't see Matty Dench at all, so it looks like he has resigned from the GT4 campaign, and he'll be focusing his efforts on GT3 at the Porsche Cup.
Well, it is an absolute plethora of names at the front. Your championship leaders, Trent Lavers and Jordan Malcolm off the front row. Don't write off Sammy Chapo Chapman in the background as well. Mikey Hammer Time Hammond, Jared Knight, he's always there. Dale Sharp, Sharpie, Kurt Chapman. You can name anyone. You can throw a blanket over the field as we're about to go green flag racing very, very shortly. 40 minutes here. It will be 35 or just under when we go green here for round number 8 of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club GT4 series. So long warm-up lap, as you said. They're coming down into the second third of the track at the moment. So I'll go through the tight right-hander and then back through the left-hander, and then they'll go down the long straight into another change of direction. Into the double right-hander rather, and onto the main straight. So now they'll start to form up, and the field will be in Trent Laver's hands when the pace car goes off. So double right-hander to go. You'll see the guys in the background trying to catch up a little bit. But mate, I'm excited for this one. GT4s, we've seen great racing all season. It's no surprise we see the championship leaders separated by 1 point off the front row here. A lot of guys nipping at their heels behind, and they're going to want to show a good showing tonight as well. So it could be a championship race for these two guys at the front. So we're about to find out as they go onto the start-finish straight, and the pace car will leave pit lane, and the field is in the hands of Trent Lavers. We're waiting for the green flag. We're waiting, and we are go! Green flag here for round number 8 of the GT4s, and Trent Lavers wasn't waiting around for anyone, and he has gone. Geordie Malcolm completely covered the inside line. He didn't want to borrow that. No one's protecting that. No one's getting me there. So they make their all the way through turn number 1. But I tell you what, Trent Lavers there, mate. He didn't want to sit there waiting. He was off. Oh, big crash.
Oh, and he gets hit by the Mercedes at the back. That'll be curious to know who it is that actually hit him there. I think it might be Russ Green, unfortunately. But Dale Sharp now down 14 positions, not the start of the race that he wanted, but luckily there is 40 minutes on the clock, so there's plenty of time to get back into it. Trent Lavis with a very decent start, 1 second ahead of Jordan Malcolm, wasting absolutely no time, and then less than a second for the 3 cars behind him. That'll be Jared Knight, Mikey Hammer Time Hammond, and Sam Chapman. And then a little bit of a gap to Kurt Chapman in P6, and then another close field all the way down. So currently on board with Adam Lavis, who did get the best of starts. He also got hampered there by the spin from Dale Sharp, now down 5 positions from the start of the race, but keeping close to the back of Craig Russell as we get ready to end lap 1.
Yeah, good start by the most part. Unfortunately, a little bit of an incident there with a couple of people tied up in that one. So they'll just want to reset and utilise the 40 minutes to try and get the best result they can. Of course, all the drivers are going to have to make one travel down pit lane. But like I said, Trent Labors didn't want to borrow that at the front, and he was gone. But Geordie Malcolm, he's reset. He's going to have his eyes set forward. Jared Knight there in the 3rd position as well. But there's battles everywhere down the field at the moment. Adam Labor's trying to make his way back up to that unfortunate start, and he's going to get the job done, it looks like, down through turn number 1 and 2. So that's another position gained by Adam Labor's there. Gary Cousins on board with as well in 14th. He's just behind this little battle, and that's Russell in front of him. So, yeah, mate, they've all been pretty good at the start of this one. Long way to go. Obviously, we lost about 4 or 5 minutes at the start of this one. But Trent Laves, Jordan Malcolm and Jared Knight leading the way at the moment. Gary Cousins, 14th position. He is down actually quite a few positions on his starting position. So he's down 3. So starting out of 11. So he's going to want to reset in that Bailey Ladders Porsche and try and make a couple positions as the race goes on. Long race to go. It's actually showing only 2 minutes 50 or something now by the looks of it now. So they didn't lose too much on the start of that one. But mate, no surprise at the front. Trent decided to put the foot down early, and 10-second penalty there for Adam Labors. So he's got a 10-second penalty to deal with after contact with 151 of Dale Sharp. So we'll go back and have a look at that, and that's why Dale was facing in the wrong direction. So Dale in the BMW, just a little bit of a tap in the rear and spun him around, and that was all she wrote. And Dale Sharp, who's loved the BMW and been doing really well in this series, and he's going to have to make his way up the positions if he wants to score some points in this one. Gary Cousins, as I said, also, as we're on board with there, dropped a couple of positions early in the race, so he's going to have his eyes forward. Sport and Bailey's Ladders, as I said, and try and make a couple of positions. He's trying to do that up the inside there of the Mercedes, and he's going to get that job done. So that's one more ticked off, and he's now up in the 13th position over Russell. So yeah, good start to this one, mate. But Trent Labors off into the distance at the moment, trying to put those lap times down to try and get a gap on his championship rival, Geordie Malcolm.
Yeah, so good job there by Cousins, shooting up down on the inside. Russell had something to say about that, though. Flash the lights as he went around. Not sure if it was just as a thank you or in anger. In any case, he is managing to stick behind the back of that Porsche. Now, this is... I don't think this is going to be a good track for the Mercedes cars. I think it's going to be a lot more beneficial for the likes of the Aston Martin and the Porsche.
Yeah, I'd agree, mate. The change of direction is very relevant at this track. More nimbler car might help. But in saying that too, through the tighter change of directions, like through here and stuff, if you want to get aggressive over the curbs, from my experience and very amateur experience, the Mercedes does handle that a lot better. So, but yeah, I think the more nimble car, and it'll probably do a little bit better. But I'm more a GT3 man. I'm very slow in the GT4, so probably not one to give opinion. But Jake Jackson in the Porsche here, he's got Grant Gill just down the road. That's who you can see in front of him, and that's the battle for 9th and 10th, 5 minutes into 40. Back to David Christensen, that's 15th at the moment, and he's in the Mercedes, and that's Fitzpatrick all over the back of him. So another one of those cars there that you thought possibly wouldn't be so good, and we're seeing that a little bit if I have a look down. So the best Mercedes at the moment is in 11th position, Daniel. So you're probably, in 3rd, Jared Knight.
Jared Knight, yeah.
Jared Knight. Paul Wood down there in 11th. So outside of that, Porsche very strong. Aston Martin and McLaren. So still some different makes up the front. Porsche very strong, but yeah, Mercedes may be struggling a little bit around this track, as you mentioned.
Yeah, I just think due to its weight and the drastic changes of direction in the middle part of the circuit will hamper. But time will tell. 40 minutes that they can go. Whoa, Sim Chapman takes the rally out, being playing a little bit too much WRC. But kept the Porsche straight, so that's good.
Well, he's thinking, I pay my racing membership. I'm going to use all of it, mate. And he did that just there.
It's definitely not the fastest way to do it, but it might be the most exciting. So Sam
It
Chapman
was
has lost. Sam Chapman's lost a ton of time there. Now he's down to 1.3 second gap, so that'll be a breath of fresh air for Mikey Hammond in the 007 Porsche. As there is a very decent battle happening here for P10. If we go down to Adam Lavis here, all within a second of each other, from Jake Jackson down. Actually, that'll be from Grant Gill down at. So for P9 will be the fight as Trent Lavis sets the fastest time of the race at 1:40.48. As Lavis goes around the outside, Paul Wood will give up the position there. I think that might be a little bit of team orders. Just didn't want to fight a fellow Bailey Ladders competitor. So Lavis will go through unopposed, and he'll now be looking to try and attack the Porsche of Jake Jackson, while Grant Gill has done a really good job defending. I'm curious as to how long he can hold out, because it does seem as though Jake Jackson is piling on the pressure, as we are lap 5 currently in the race.
Yeah, well, Adam Labors there, he did get that passed by his teammate as we are on board with Jake Jackson for that battle between Grant Gill for the back end of the top 10, 9th and 10th on the racetrack as we see it at the moment. But Adam Labors, after that 10-second penalty and not the best start, he's going, Jake Jackson into the back of him, and Jake Jackson's around. So Jake Jackson's gone. That's a freebie there for Adam Labors. And that's going to put him in the top 10. So Adam Labors wanted to obviously try and make his way up. He's got a 10-second penalty to deal with as well. So Grant Gill, did he get a bit of damage out of that? Jake Jackson, that was unfortunate for Jake. Very hard on the brakes and into the back of Grant Gill. And that was all she wrote there. So he's got a long night ahead as well. So yeah, we'll go back and unpack that if you don't mind, mate, and just have a look. We did see that live from the rear end of Grant. But on board with Jake, up into this right-hander, it's not a heavy braking section. He gets good rotate and just didn't... Yeah, right. I'm a commentator. I'm not going to commentate on that one. But he's got into the back of him and unfortunately just put himself into the inside fence. So hopefully that's not night done for Jake, and he can come back and have a solid result tonight. It is a 40-minute race, so a long way to go. David Christensen there on board with at the moment as well. But I do have to say, mate, we do need to make point of this as we're 8 minutes in. Trent Labors is gone. 3 seconds up the road. And he is consistently, third time lucky, 0.7 of a second quicker than your second place, Jordan Malcolm. Is he going to wear the tyres too quickly? Is Geordie just trying to back off a little bit, save some fuel, be stationary less in the second stop? I don't know. So we're about to find out. This is a pleasure of having to have a pit stop and having a 40-minute race. But this battle's really good between David Christensen and Russell at the moment. It's one of the closest on the track, and Christensen having a really good look behind Russell. So it is their Porsche versus Mercedes. So you can see there exactly what you said there, Daniel. Really hard for the Mercedes to rotate through the mid of the corner there.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately a characteristic of the car, but it does sound better than any of the other GT4s.
I can say I don't. Mine's not in the GT4s, but I can say that Mercedes has always been my favourite car in any GT type of racing. It sounds good. It sounds really meaty, and it doesn't necessarily drive the best, but if you're a little bit of a backyard racer like me that likes everything to be slowed down a bit, sometimes it can help you on race paces. Adam Labors into the back of Grant Gill. So Grant Gill's having a little bit of an issue of what Phil had in the previous one. That's the second time he's had a little bit of love tap in the rear of the car there, as Adam Labors using that outside line here around Zandvoort. He'll get the great run off the corner. Look at that. See you later. Slingshot. I'm gone, and now I'm up into 9th.
Yeah, so Paul Wood now chasing Grant Gill for that 10th spot. Yeah, I don't think Grant Gill realised just how fast that top line is in the banked corner. So either that or he let him pass.
The top line, well, either one, man, but both of me know, both you and I know, rather, put my English in. Zandvoort, around that really banked corner there, the left-hand corner, turn number 3, you really the outside line is the quickest way. You can't get it rotated. It is banked that much. I don't think our streams give you the indication of how much it is banked, and you allow the bank to rotate the car, and as soon as it gets rotated, you're just on the gas and you're out. You can try and make a pass on the inside there, just like this one a little bit that you were just seeing there, and we'll go back to that later. It is a little bit banked, but you can't quite get it as much as 3. So, but David Baz at the moment having a great run in 7th place. That's Sam Muir, you can see in the background there behind him from the 1.9 car, chasing him down. But now we go onto the front, and that's Kurt Chapman in front of him. So this is the battle for 6th and 7th. 12 minutes into 40, long way to go. Push versus Porsche at the moment. So
just keep an eye here as we're coming up that bank corner. This bumper cam should give you a good indication of. There we go.
see, he went a bit tight and he'll lose on exit. See how he drives a little bit more on exit. So you need to drive it in a little bit harder, let it rotate on the outside, and straight line the exit as much as you can. And it's really weird because motor racing is generally like, I need to get the apex and I need to drive it into the corner and get the exit through the apex and set people up. But through there, if you try and do that, that's not going to happen so much, and hope that they go in too shallow trying to block you. So very different style of racing through that corner than most people would see, as we see that Baz really having a good look at Chapman here as he makes a big dive down the inside through the left-hander. That he's going to be on the wrong side of the road coming into the S-bend here down the end of this straight. He's going to give that up and just settle into position. They'll go through the right and left into the less banked left. And then they'll make their way down the straight here. Gets a little bit loose on exit, so he's going to sacrifice time, but he needs to get a good run through these 2 corners to get a run down the main straight to possibly have a chance going down into turn number 1. So he's got a decent run there off the final turn, and he'll sit in behind Chapman here down the main straight, and we'll see whether he has anything for him down into turn number 1. If he wants to get it done, he needs to get it done decisively, because Chapman will come back at him through that famous corner we just spoke about. So he's got it done. Chapman lets it go. He's going to sit behind him. This is flat out here, up this section of the track, through the left, through the right, and then down, not flat through the right, but off a little bit. And then you saw Chapman just backed off a little bit, and you can see how much the exit helps, even though that Baz went a little bit wider. So are they going to get through here cleanly? They flat over the top here. He tried to go flat, he couldn't do it. So lucky not to end up in the fence there. But you can see the different characteristics of the track there and how hard it is to make a pass, and you really need to use your racecraft.
Yeah, just getting pushed a little wide. Didn't take into account that the track cambers back in, so went a little wide on the grass. He's managed to do a really good job to bring it back, though. The gap is almost nothing between those 2 cars, but they better be paying attention because Sam Muir is currently on a charge, and the more that they fight, the closer he gets. And he's really having to use absolutely no effort for this, so we'll stay on board with this. Oh, as they do come together!
Around. Oh, Sam!
Yeah, that's David Baz out. Kurt Chapman's going to be just behind them, I believe. And he's pulling back, so Kurt Chapman's trying to do the right thing and give the position. But he's going to lose a ton of positions because of that. No, he will redress, so that might be something for race control to look at, unfortunately.
We will talk to race control later. He can jump in whenever he wants, but you can see how patience is a virtue around here. Difference of speeds and difference of lines. And to be able to set up that pass is so important around Zandvoort. They're not usually in some of the corners your traditional race line. So being able to utilise that and think and sort of outthink your driver in front. And we've seen that a couple of times, you know. You can see there, though, they're all around the outside, and off they go. Fair play. Grant Gill's still going around in 9th position at the moment, so he'll be chasing down Kurt Chapman, sorry. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kurt get a little bit of a penalty here for that incident, but we're not race control. We'll see what comes across. Back to Gary Cousins at the moment as well in the 11th position. So Gary up into 11th in the Porsche. He's chasing down Paul Wood in front of him in the Mercedes. But we're already 16 minutes down, mate, out of 40. So in the next 10 minutes, we're coming into pit stop range.
Yeah, nobody has made a voluntary pit stop, I believe. Jake Jackson did come in on lap 5. Dale Sharp was earlier, but he obviously had that spin, so possible damage to him. And Mark Gomes Gomez, either or. He's currently in the pits at the moment, and he's been there for 11 minutes, so he's definitely out of this race.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Mark. And how about we make a commentator's deal, mate? We just call him Mark G from now on until he says otherwise. We'll just call him Mark G. But Gary Cousins doing a good job at the moment. So he hasn't gained or lost on his starting position. He was down 3 or 4 early on, so he's just having a little bit of a fight back, climbing up that Bailey's ladder as he has that sponsorship on the side. So he's just trying to climb up that Bailey's ladder. Thought you'd like that segue there, Daniel. Come on now.
Oh, sorry, I was busy reading the race control message there. So Kurt Chapman does get a 5-second penalty for a late move with car 808. And the race control did note the attempted redress, but a 5-second penalty was given in any case.
Yeah, might jump in here. That one was a very much an accidental one. Would have been a 10-1 just due to the nature of it, but there was very much an attempt to redress. But David made no attempts to get back on track, so yeah, there was not really possible to redress it at the point.
Yeah, well, there you go. You hear it from the man himself. So still a penalty for Kurt Chapman. He did try and readdress, but he had no opportunity to, and obviously there was a reason for Dave Baz not being able to do that. So that will be a 5-second penalty that he'll have to serve at the end of the race. So he'll have that in his back pocket for the rest of the 21.5 minutes left in this race. Paul Wood and Gary Cousins, they're actually ranging up on the back of Grant Gill at the moment. They look like they've got a bit of pace. So these two teammates, they're working very well together. They'll obviously be utilising their fuel strat too. So the longer that they stay together, the longer they're going to be able to go on this stint. So they're doing a great job. We do need to go back to the front at some point. We won't yet because this battle's really good between teammates. And it looks like that, no, they're going to err on the side of caution and they're going to reset and go again. So the longer they battle like that and try and show the nose, they're better off just sitting in behind each other, to be honest, and trying to get Grant Gill and make their way up onto the back and then possibly set their wings to sail to Kurt Chapman that's just up the road, who does have a penalty to serve. So if they just sit in behind, they're obviously quicker at the moment, utilise each other's racecraft, and they might be able to get a couple of positions through the pit stop and possibly get well inside the top 10 at the end of this one. But I will mention, we're back at the front, thank God, or no, we're Adam Laver's up into 7th. He's got a 10-second penalty up his sleeve too, I believe. So Adam Laver's at the moment up into 7th position. So on relative at the end of this one, it'll be interesting to see what he holds on to. Sam Muir just in front of him in the 6th position. So Adam Laver's had a lot of pace. I bet you he's kicking himself, mate, that he got into that one, got into that incident earlier. His race could have been so much different.
Yeah, 100%. It was from the... Whoa! Sam Muir just taking a lot of curve there. That's cost him some time. Luckily, managed to keep the car nice and straight. So he'll be able to stay ahead for now. But yes, Adam Lavis right there, lap 1. Only a couple of turns. And yeah, just unfortunately gone into the back of Dale Sharp. He'll look to try and slingshot now. Well, I wonder if he'll be able to get it. Yeah, there's plenty of pace there. So he'll move up into P6 and he'll be trying to gain as much time as possible because he's got to make up a 10-second deficit now due to that penalty.
Yeah, Sam sort of just moved over there. I'm thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, Daniel, there could be a bit of fuel strats here, like, because Trent Laver's at the front. He's 4.2 seconds the better of Geordie Malcolm. You got Jared Knight right in behind Geordie Malcolm, so teammates 2nd and 3rd. We're under a second between those guys. I don't know because I'm not in the server, but for people to be backing off like that, there could be a bit of fuel strat going on. Will they take tyres and try and be shorter in pit lane if they don't take tyres. We've seen that all this season in GT4, so a lot of strategy happening at the moment. We have seen also by the man that we've spoken about, fuel saving is definitely the way to go, and you don't necessarily need to be first, second or third early on in the race. If you can be quickest through pit stops at the end and put the gap on, you're going to put yourself in a good position to have a good result. So a lot of to and throwing at the moment, a lot of different things. You don't know what the other guy's got. Lap times, obviously, they are important, but you don't know what the fuel drop is either in relation to the individual car. They've got different BOP, of course, and that's builder performance. So they all use fuel differently throughout the lap and throughout the race. So it's the interesting thing on GT3s and GT4s that we're watching tonight. A lot to play out, but Trent Lavers, he is bolted at the front, mate.
Yeah, 4.1 seconds the gap now. You can see on the graphic on your screen, the gap actually ebbs and flows on every odd lap. So it's not that Jordan Malcolm's going much slower, but that early lead has allowed Trent Lavers to stay ahead with that 4-second margin. When it comes to the idea of a pitch strategy, I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Malcolm's trying the fuel saving strat, seeing if he can just save a bunch of litres more, have a shorter pit stop. But I'm just curious if, because Jared Knight is going to be pressuring him, and so if Jared keeps putting better and better lap times in, Malcolm won't be able to back off as much as he is, and so that then puts the fuel strategy out the window, and then you have to start putting the pace down. So as we come to, actually we are over the halfway mark now, just over 3 minutes 20. It'll be interesting to see which one of these guys comes in first. My guess would be Trent will most likely be the first one in. But if it's not him, it'll be Jared Knight. Jared Knight will most likely look for the undercut.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think they'll be taking tyres, mate. Doing the GT3s the other night, albeit not this track. I went an hour without changing tyres. Yes, it was a little bit of a boat at the end, and doing the 8-hour over the weekend. In a 40-minute race, you're not going to be doing tyres, I would strongly suggest. But I'm not in the race, so I don't know. But I wouldn't be. I would be utilising the fuel, trying to save as much as I can, try and keep that average lap time up, and come in and be stationary as less as I can through the pit stop, and come out and try and hold on to the position I've got. But I'm not at the level of these guys, so we'll see how it goes. 25 minutes now nearly into this race, only 15 minutes to go. How quick has it gone, mate? Big thank you, of course. Let's take the opportunity as we're on board with Jared Knight, the battle for third and second. Let's take the opportunity to roll through all the sponsors here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club that make it all possible. And thank you to everyone tuning in on our platforms, whether it be Facebook and YouTube. I hope you're enjoying all the action. We're definitely enjoying bringing it all to you here on your Wednesday night in the GT4. So we'll go through your sponsors across the bottom, hopefully, if we can. And it is, of course, Flash Graphics. A big thank you to those guys for supporting the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. M-Wave, jump on and support the people that support our iRacing community. Login systems, managed IT business solutions. If you're looking for a business solution through your IT, log on to them. Orbic, a big supporter of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and we could not do it without them. Waste Options, flexible, credible and fair. Thank you to Waste Options. Again, same thing. Lobesy Racing. Oh, big
that's
crash
a big
in
shunt.
the background. We'll come back to the sponsors. Let's go back and have a look at that one. That is a big shunt coming out of the final turn here at Zandvoort. I don't know who that was. That
Sam
was
Chapman.
massive, mate. Sam Chapman. Chapo with a big shunt. Go back to your Orbic replay. Coming through the final turn, Sam Chapman. Oh, someone's gone into pit lane. He didn't know. Oh, no. Oh, no.
So that's gone really bad for Sam Chapman for one very critical reason. I will go back and I will point this out for those of you who didn't catch it. So if we just have a look here. Let's just have a look here. We'll go back on board. Now, I'll try and slow this down to get to the point. So this is a tactic, obviously trying to get the draft, but what he hasn't realised is Mikey's actually coming into the pits. Mikey's maintaining the speed, and right about here is where it goes wrong. He hits the brake, preparing for that pit line, and Sam did not realise that was the case. He thought that Mikey would continue to go, so Mikey ends up around the wrong way in the pit lane, which could cause an iRacing penalty to come his way. He'll have to be very careful about that, but unfortunately for Sam Chapman, that car is toast. And just before that, Jordan Malcolm came in for his pit stop, so Jordan was actually the first one to come into the pits.
Yeah, that's interesting, mate, and that was unfortunate because both of them will get penalties. I'm sure there'll be a race control penalty, and unfortunately the other driver will get an unsafe pit entry, I'd suggest. So not good for either, but interesting to see who blinked first. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out as it goes on. Trent Laver's still leading the way. He's now extended that gap out to 5.4 seconds. And that's what you should do when someone's pitting, if you knew they were, of course. We all don't have the crystal ball. And Paul Woodsy, who's doing really well on the GT3s on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, actually leading it, I think, up into the 5th position in the GT4s. So doing a great job at the moment. He's up 11 positions on his starting position. He's still got to come through pit lane. So how that all plays out, we're about to find out. But we'll take the opportunity again. If we can just quickly finish going through those sponsors, as Kurt Chapman in the 10th position, up in behind Mikey Hammertime Hammond. Player One Sim Gear, of course, p1simgear.com.au. Jump across to them for all your sim racing needs. If you need anything sim racing, go across to them. Lobesy Racing, big supporter of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, obviously massively involved. So a big thank you to you, mate. Sprayton non-alcoholic cider. New sponsor here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Big thank you to those guys. Jump across to them. If you want to try a new cider, non-alcoholic, of course, because that's the way it needs to be, and jump across to them and try that out, because I'm sure it tastes really, really good, and I wouldn't mind actually getting myself some of that as well. So, but Kurt Chapman up into the 10th place at the moment. Phil Butler, my teammate, right in behind him, just down the road 3 seconds into 11th. I'm not going to give him any airtime, to be honest, because he'll hate me for it, because he'll end up putting it in the wall. He always says every time I talk to him, talk about him, he ends up in the wall. But I'm happy with Phil starting 20th, up into the 11th position. Nearly about to click over 10 minutes to go, mate, and pit stops are coming very, very fast at the moment, and we're about to see them really, really happen in the next 3 or 4 minutes.
Yeah, and just to point out, if you guys didn't happen to catch that on the screen, Sam Chapman was given a 15-second penalty for that contact. Now, I understand that decision because it is incumbent on the driver behind to ensure that you overtake safely. It's an unfortunate penalty because Sam Chapman in no way, shape or form did he want to do that, but he just slipped and forgot that that is the pit lane. So, yeah, very unfortunate for him. That's his race done pretty much. He can try and climb up that board as much as he wants, but a 15-second penalty is absolutely huge. So that is a big weight on the shoulders there. But hopefully he doesn't get too down and just puts his head down and keeps on running. So Trent Lavis still yet to pit. Jared Knight still yet to pit. Adam Lavis up into P5 now. Still yet to pit. The closest battle is the one on your screen. That's Kurt Chapman chasing down Mikey Hammond, both in the Porsches. And it's starting to get a little heated. I can see the rear tyres starting to wiggle a little. Both of these guys have done their pit stop, so it is to the end with both of them.
Yeah, and I reckon they might benefit a little bit here. If they don't fight too much, they might benefit a little bit on track position and might be able to make a couple of gains. So we'll see how that goes, but the way we've seen tonight, I'm not sure that they're ready to do that. So Kurt Chapman at the moment in 8th and Mikey Hammond in 7th. They're a little bit behind, probably 30-40 seconds behind the leaders, but they've still got to go down through pit lane. So they'll benefit a lot by having clean air, and if they can just work together here and try and navigate the next couple of minutes, it'll be interesting to see where the merge comes out when Trent Lavers comes out. I think Trent's a little bit too in front at the moment, but in saying that, he's used a lot more fuel. But these guys would have been stationary longer through pit lane as well, because they came in earlier. So it's put the balls in the air and juggle them and see where they all come out. But Chapman and Hammond, the battle on the screen at the moment between 8th and 7th. Sam Chapman up into 6th position. I'm not quite sure. Adam Labors is not really in the hunt at the moment with his penalty hanging over his head. Labors and Knight at the moment, he's not really there either because he's a little bit too far behind. So I can see now, though, with the gap between Labors and Knight, it's sort of coming back a little bit. So Labors is backing off on the pace and trying to cover off on everyone else. So this will be interesting. Minus 5 point penalty for 665, Mark Gomes there. So an incident between Mark Gomes in that incident that I didn't see earlier.
That was lap 1, yeah, with Dale Sharp. So, Josh, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I believe he was given a 5 point penalty because he disconnected from the server after the crash. And I believe the idea is to stay in the server and finish out the race.
Yeah, bang on there, Dan. So if you disconnect if you disconnect straight after an incident, and you haven't disconnected for another good reason, that is typically converted to a championship points penalty, like you said.
Because obviously, if you're not in the server, we can't actually give you a penalty that matters for the race at hand. So that makes perfect sense on the book there. An unfortunate one. I can understand sometimes you get a little bit ragey when things don't go your way, but you should always try and finish the race. You have no idea. I don't care who you are. I have this discussion so many times. You do not know how a race is going to go. It doesn't matter. You just don't know.
And I can confirm that, mate, because I've had so many times that I've had incidents or something like that, and you just keep pushing on because a championship is a championship and you're only as good as your last race. So if you can keep getting those points, and you can't look forward to the race ahead. You can't go, okay, I'm better at this one. You just got to accumulate those championship points, and that is how you win championships. And you can be frustrated, but if you escape from the server and you can't serve your penalty in-game, it's going to hurt you a lot, or in-session rather, not in-game. It's going to hurt you a lot more by not doing it. So I second that point 100%, and I've found that myself. As we do have your leader, Trent Labors, in pit lane. So here we go. This is the battle for the lead of the race. We got Geordie Malcolm come round on the pit straight now. Will he be able to jump Trent Labors? We're about to find out. Trent's coming out of pit lane. He's a little bit too in front here at the moment. Looks like he's got a massive gap. So this is the one to lose for Trent.
Yeah, 7 seconds. So Malcolm jumped Knight, so that was no issue, but Trent Lavis 6 seconds ahead. Now here's the problem. Trent Lavis was consistently faster throughout that first part of the stint. I cannot see how Jordan Malcolm can make up that deficit. He can't, mate. What's that? 5 minutes to go? Yes.
5 minutes to go. He's not doing that, mate. Trent has been absolutely quicker than the rest of the field, head and heels above the rest of the field. From the moment the green flag dropped and he put the hammer down, he was gone, and he wanted to show his compatriot, his closest championship competitor, who was only 1 second between the 1 point rather between them coming into this one. He wanted to show him that I'm here and I'm playing business, and he's exactly done that tonight, and he's 6 seconds up the road. He has had an amazing race at the front tonight. So Trent Labors, he's to lose at the moment, 6.5 seconds. Jared Knight's done a great job tonight. He started out of 4th. He's gone up 1 position into the 3rd position. Adam Labors, he won't finish in the 4th position. He's got 10-second penalty weighing over his head. Mikey Hammer Time Hammond, he'll be happy with this one. He might get a 4th when this all plays out. Kurt Chapman as well, and Sam Chapman.
Chapman missing the rear wing there completely.
Yeah, that's it.
Didn't get repaired. So it'll be interesting to see how those rear tyres are feeling. He's got the engine at the back there for support, so I guess it's some weight.
Lap 21 there, Dan. I think Sam may have lost it around turn 1.
You know what? You're correct.
Turn 2, sorry.
If we have a look here at the...
Oh.
So he did have a rear wing, and... Bonk.
Yeah.
It's so comedic. Not for him, though. He'll be fuming. But unfortunately, that's all it takes. Those are very strong.
He'll have good top end speed, but I'm not sure it'll feel that good through the corners.
He also gets that penalty looming on him. He does have a 10-second gap to David Christensen, though. So he'll be down, but he'll only lose at most 2 positions if he can maintain the gap. So, no, he'll still be in the top 10. As it stands, he'll still be in the top 10. So not a bad one. Just a very unfortunate incident from him. Like, I completely agree with the penalty, but jeez, you would feel like absolute crap. Because it's you just would not, it would just not have crossed your mind. Like, the only way you would have thought someone was going into the pits is if you were going into the pits. But he clearly wasn't. He was going to push, and Sam's very much one for trying to push the envelope as to how many laps you can get out on that first stint. So, yeah, he just would have tried so hard to get that draft. And the second those red lights came on, he would have been like, oh, I can't go anywhere. And, yeah, just bang, plowed into the back. So, obviously, that's bad for Mikey as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm not forgetting him in this. Getting spun around in the pit lane. So, obviously, you've got a tighter... The pit lane is obviously walled off, so you've got to try and make a 3-point turn or flick the car without damaging the car further as you go in. So, obviously, not a great time for him as well as... Kurt Chapman does the same, but luckily for him, Mikey's already done his pit stop, so we won't see a repeat of that particular accident. And I think Kurt Chapman might be able to get him around the outside. Is he coming to turn 1? No, he'll just be following him through.
Just want to interject here, Dan.
Yeah?
Oh, sorry, Josh.
Yeah, sorry, boys. You mentioned a 3-point turn there. It was very Austin Powers-ish. It was very much not a 3-point turn. It's one for the replays. But, yeah, I felt very sorry for Mikey. And I will say that I did actually wait to see how, after the pit stops all played out, the time difference. And there were 4 cars that had pitted earlier, so Sam would have had notification that cars were going in. And there was about an 8.5-second gap after it was all said and done with Sam in the lead. So that's why that ended up as 15.
Well, I think there's arguments for everything about that. That's just a really unfortunate incident. But there's also... You know, we have the thing in the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club that no communications across comms unless it's pass left, pass right. You know, you could have come across comms and say pitting this lap with the car that close. So, but being devil's advocate, you're not in the driver's seat. So, unfortunate for both drivers there. And but I tell you what, the racing has been brilliant. We're now in the back end of the race. Only 45 seconds to go. And we're probably going to go white flag Barney this time around, gentlemen.
Just looking at where Trent Lavis is on the track, you are correct. That'll be Barney will be waving the yellow flag, the white flag, I should say, on this current lap. You should be able to see it if we jump onto the bonnet cam here. Just have a look to, I think Barney resides on the right here. Yes, it is. There's the white flag. Actually, there's 2 of them. And double duty tonight. We do start the final lap of this motor race, and Trent Lavis is still well and truly 6.5 seconds down the road, so it is his to win as long as he doesn't make a mistake. Jordan Malcolm will end up in P2, and Jared Knight actually dropped quite a significant distance back at oh no, sorry, what I'm seeing is a back marker between Trent Lavis and Jordan Malcolm, so no, Jared Knight is right there, 1 second. The gap between him and Jordan Malcolm there in P2. But Trent Lavis only has a handful of corners to go. And then the last banking, he will cross the line as the winner of this race.
We'll go across to Trent Lavis and we'll wave him across the line. He's going to extend the championship lead here at round number 8 of the Orbic GT4s. Here Circuit Zandvoort, and your winner here for round number 8 is none other than Trent Lavis. He's happy about that. He's flashing the headlights across the start-finish line. What an emphatic win over Jordan Malcolm in 2nd place, his championship competitor, and Jared Knight in 3rd position. What a race it was. Adam Labers with a penalty to serve will come across the line in 4th. Mikey Hammertime Hammond with a pretty interesting race tonight will end up probably in 4th position as they come across the line if he can hold on to this over Chapo, and it looks like he'll do that. So Mikey Hammertime Hammond will come home 4th on the respective orders, and Chapo and the other Chapo in 6th and 7th. Couple of penalties play out post-race. Gary Cousins, he kept climbing the ladder, the Bailey's ladder, and he come home in 8th position. Dave Christensen over the line. Russell coming across the line in 10th. Grant Gill with a very eventful race in 10th. Paul Woodsy Wood in 11th. Paul Woodsy Wood in 12th. Blake Fitzpatrick in 13th as he makes his way across the line. My teammate and Phil Butler just behind him in his BMW. What's he driving a BMW for? That's interesting. But Phil Butler comes home in 14th position. Well done to you, Philba. Well done, mate. Amazing job in 14th. Brett Bradbury in behind him. Phil's happy about that one. Brett Bradbury in, I think it's 15th if he's still going, or already going. So it looks like they've all pretty much crossed the line. But, mate, GT4's done and dusted again. How good was that? Trent Lavers, class above the rest. We'll go through your place getters here and how the field rounded out for round 8 of the Orbic Australia GT4 Challenge here on the Gentleman Sim Racing Club streams at Circuit Zandvoort. It was Trent Lavers with an absolute dominant win at the front tonight. 6.8 seconds the winner over Geordie Malcolm, his championship contagonist. He'll extend the lead at the front heading into round number 9. Jared Knight coming home in P3. Can I get that out any quicker? Adam Maverick in 4th, Mikey Hammond in 5th, Kurt Chapman in 6th, Sam Chapman in 7th, Gary Cousins in 8th, David Christensen rounding out United, and Craig Russell coming home in 10th position. Aussie E-Racers 8th, 9th and 10th. Grant Gill in 11th, Paul Wood 12th, Blake Fitzpatrick in 13th, Phil Butler from the Quantum Motorsport, powered by the Golden Octopus Foundation. A little bit of a shout out. Support childhood cancer if you want to. Golden Octopus Foundation.com.au. Brett Badbury in 15th, Pete Matto-Matson in 16th, Sam Muir in 17th, David Baz in 18th, Jake Jackson in 19th with an unfortunate incident earlier, and it looks like he just shut up shop for that one, and Mark Gomes in 20th. In 21st position was Dale Sharp, Russ Green 22nd, and Michael Ladder rounding out your field in 23rd position. Well, Daniel, mate, I tell you what, the Downforce Legends were good. How good was the GT4s? That was great racing. Some unfortunate issues there for individuals and some penalties that they need to serve, and nothing meant by any of it, but it was great racing in the GT4s around what is a great track.
Yeah, definitely developed well. We saw some good racing there, especially at the front and in the middle pack. Just trying to find the point at which we actually did commence racing. Here, there's the green flag. So we'll go from that point. There we go, as everybody gets ready for the start of the race. Yes, we had an excellent race there. Trent Lavers drove exceptionally, ended up winning the race by 6.8 seconds. So unfortunately that did not work in Jordan Malcolm's favour, but P2 is nothing to sneeze at. As I'm sure we'll see a replay here of the unfortunate incident that happened to Dale Sharp. Adam Lavers just going a little too close to the back of that BMW, and there it is, kiss of death, bang. That caused him to spin right round, and then unfortunately Mark G right into the side of that car. So the unfortunate one there for Dale. I wonder if we'll have some of our drivers jump in with us.
We've got him up here. I hope we can get Jared Knight up here. Geordie, if you can come on, Penelope. I hope we've got Jared Knight up here, so I wouldn't mind having a chat to him shortly. But we'll do it the other way around. We'll go the other way around until other people jump up. So, Trent Lavers, mate, good to see you in the broadcast booth, mate. What a race in the GT4s, mate. That was pure dominance, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I managed to get the Aston dialed up for this track. Did about probably the least amount of practice I've done all season, actually. To be honest, I might have to follow that through with the rest of the rounds because I must get tripped up chasing my tail too much.
What was the difference, mate? I thought maybe with you running a bit longer, obviously there wasn't tyres taken, I would suggest. That's me as a novice. But fuel strap was a big thing. Jared has jumped up in here at the moment, so we'll jump back to Jared in a minute and we'll finish this conversation with you very shortly if you can hang around a little bit, Trent. But what was the difference tonight, mate?
Are you talking to me still or Jared?
Yeah, you.
Oh, sorry, mate. Just I was able to get the Aston to pull out of that real tight left-hand baked hairpin. I think that's where I had the confidence to get on the gas nice and early and form a bit of a gap on the rest of the guys. The rest of the track, I think the guys had a bit more pace than I did, and I was just sort of managing. But yeah, coming out of here, as you can see on the screen, that's where I had the advantage tonight.
Well, Trent, we'll come back to you, mate. We'll finish this conversation very shortly. A very dominant win there at the front. But Jared, up into third position tonight. Jared, mate, subbed out of fourth, up into third. Interesting night at the office from the broadcast perspective. A couple of incidents, but you sort of navigated that. You weren't really involved in anything and did a great job and come home in P3. You got to be happy with that, mate.
Yeah, I think third was about all the Merc had tonight. It just just couldn't get the drive out of any corners. Had to run a fair amount of wing to hold it around the big right-handed sweeper as well. But third's not a bad effort.
Well, first of the Mercs home, and Daniel actually did mention through the broadcast a little bit of a hard car to drive around here with a change of direction, and you said you had to mind a bit of rear wing into it. But you were the first of the Mercs home. The next best was David Christensen in 9th position. So it's interesting for you to relay exactly what Daniel was saying. So the car usually is one of my favourite, but P3 though, still really, really good result, mate, and some good bag of points going into round 9.
Yeah, I know I've been a bit critical of the BOP, and I think 15 kilos for the Merc.
Not sure if it's there 90. It's just it's flipping it a little bit. I don't know whether that's me or whether that's you.
Oh, sorry. I was just talking about the BOP. I think I personally think this series needs to just move away from any BOP on any car. I think it was initially brought in because the Merc was everyone's car of choice, but I think iRacing have moved on from that, made some adjustments, and everything's sort of on a pretty level playing field in the officials. So yeah, I think they might need to be looked at next season.
So do we see you moving away from the Merc in next season in GSRC and the GT4? Do you think you'll run something else?
Not too sure. I'd love the Merc. It's probably my favourite car.
I'll second that.
Driving wise on the service, it's it just feels like a proper race car, to be honest. So, but yeah, I gave the Aston a dabble last season and managed to get a couple of good results in that. But yeah, just the Merc's a bit like the old faithful. In the Beamer and the GT3s, it's just always easy to come back to and always know how to get about a lap in it.
Well, I think we saw that because I'm looking at the best lap time of you tonight. Finishing third, best lap time 140.928. Geordie Malcolm was a 148.64, so pretty much line ball that. And then Trent Laves at the front in the Asto, he was gone, 140.4. So did a great job to be able to navigate that car around and be able to get that extra position from your fourth starting position into third. And like I said, a big lot of points coming into round number 9, mate. So big congratulations on your P3 tonight.
Yeah, cheers, Dad. Thanks, mate.
Well, mate, you're up in the booth. We'll give you the opportunity. And big shout out to everyone involved and your sponsors for your P3 tonight. And shout out to everyone.
Yeah, obviously just GSRC and Daniel being behind the scenes for Wednesday and Thursday nights, and I'm not currently running a HDS livery on the on the Merc, unfortunately. The team paint man, sort of dragging the tail on that one a little bit, but yeah, just the sponsors for HDS Racing, Harvey Norman, Build Log, Sideways Photography, and Specialist Sales.
No worries, mate. Big congratulations once again from everyone here at the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, and hope to be talking to you again next week at round 9, mate. No doubt you'll be thereabouts, so can't wait to see you back out on track, mate.
Yeah, mate, you'll see me there.
No worries at all. There you go. Your third place getter tonight, Jared Knight, here for round number 8 for the Orbic GT4 at Circuit Zandvoort. But I'll just jump back a little bit. Sam Chapman's up here. Chapo, mate. That was an interesting race, mate. How did it feel from your end, coming home in 7th position tonight? A lot going on through that sort of 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th position with a couple of incidents.
Yeah, get the 7-second delay ready, I reckon. Yeah, pretty tough night. It was, even from the get-go, you know, starting in 3rd and then having to pull up because I sort of found myself in a bad spot off the start line. But yeah, from there it was just hanging around behind the guys ahead, not pushing too hard, and then yeah, I mean, yeah, just put into a different situation with the decision, but I don't really agree, because from my perspective, it just looks like I'm brake checked on a straight, as it's the same way, you know. Might be defended for a number of laps, right? So it's really impossible to pick that with no notification otherwise. So yeah, I think he probably needs a bit of self-preservation and use the mirrors. But anyway, that's my opinion on that one. And that was sort of the night from there. I was just driving angry and spinning cars and not really going too far.
Well, there you go. You hear the rawness here on the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club from Sam Chapman. I was actually going to ask you that, mate, and I had my comment, and we've all got the we're all entitled to our opinions, and that's what's the pleasure of having one. So, yeah, I'm a commentator, so I'm not going to put my 2 cents in, but yeah, that's something maybe that can be looked at from a committee, maybe, of calling out your pit stops or something, because we don't have real world crew chiefs and stuff. But that was unfortunate, but at the same time, I can understand both ways. And if we pull all that away, mate, you still come back to 7th position, mate, when you found yourself facing in the wrong direction and having a very hard hit, mate. So really good driving, and you got some good solid points there, and move on to round number 9.
Yeah, we'll move on to round number 9. I don't really, you know, obviously don't have any drop rounds left. I've used up about 5 of them so far. So, gee, the car was in bad nick. I didn't think it was driving particularly well, but I can see why now. But yeah,
second hand, to be honest.
yeah, no, it had a bit of the mechanics got to work tonight, that's for sure. Caused a bit of damage, but yeah, I mean, all in all, good track for these. Just disappointing night. What have we got up next week? Can't remember. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was. Yeah, there goes the wing. So that was just.
That was just rejoin practice, mate. Rejoin practice. We'll put that down to that.
Well,
But,
exactly. Well, actually, I had too much wing on, I reckon, maybe. And that was, yeah, just needed a bit more straight line speed so I could not catch the guys ahead. Right.
But good job, mate. In all seriousness, we joke about it, but in all seriousness, mate, great job. P7, fight back from, like, if that was me in the wall like that, I'd be nowhere. So, mate, you had the pace there. It was the night that what could have been, and good job on your P7 tonight, mate.
Thanks, Shooty.
No worries. There we go, Chapo. One of the committee members here in the GSRC. Up into the 7th position. A night that could have been. Downforce did start out of P number 3 tonight. That does move us across to our 2nd place getter tonight. Geordie Malcolm, good evening to you, good evening to you, Jordan. Mate, you came into the round 1 point between yourself and Trent Lavers, and you were off the front row. I bet you the nerves were going, but he was gone, and he was gone at 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Yeah, mate. After I ran my first official race, and I saw even in the officials there was 2 Astons pulling away, I knew this race was going to be a little bit of a trouble one for me. So yeah, just Trent's ability to adapt and be fast, and then the Aston being the preferred car on this track. And then probably my lack of practice as well accumulated to just settling for second in the end.
Well, I think that's a common factor that what we've seen tonight in the GT4s. Everyone said their lack of practice. We've all got real world stuff, so we can't sit on the simulator all the time, but you guys are aliens and can just drive it the way that you do. That was great racing. I did actually think with the way that the pit strategy, and I misread it, I did think that you would have been a little bit closer when he pitted compared to you, but obviously didn't have that much clear air and couldn't really get those lap times in, and that was all she wrote.
Yeah, I had all the clean air in the world. It's just that Trent was just that much faster than me still. So he just had so much pace tonight. He was on a different planet.
Yeah, most definitely, mate. He was, mate. Like, that was sensational. But hey, 1 point between you coming into this round. It's not all over. You come in second place, and you haven't really lost a lot. So coming into round number 9, you've got to be excited about that one, because championship is definitely not said and done if we've seen what happened tonight.
No, championship's pretty much wrapped up. Got a DNS next week, so the funds of working in motorsport, I get to go to Adelaide and work at that. But you know, sorry to burst the bubble on the championship, but yeah, it doesn't look like we'll make it. We might bring a laptop and controller and see how we go late at night, but at the moment it's not looking too likely we'll show up.
We were about to have the fight for the championship, but that's all right, mate. Work comes first, and good to see you being a part of the real world motorsport and doing what you do, mate. It's good, and that takes precedence. So, mate, it's always good seeing you here in the Gentleman Sim Racing Club streams and being up there and creating good racing, and that's what it's all about, mate. So we wish you all the best in your racing endeavours and what you do in the real world, mate. So that takes precedence, and this is all a bit of fun, and obviously you're talented at what you do. So look forward to seeing you for the next round out, hopefully round 10, if you can get back in time. But mate, P2 tonight, big shout out to all those sponsors.
Yeah, shout out to Chris and the team over at 19, and then obviously everyone in the broadcast committee and everyone that helps get the show on the road.
No worries, mate. Big congratulations once again. Hope to see you in the final round, round number 10. And best of luck next weekend in your real world stuff.
Yeah, just selling merchandise next weekend, but you know, have to go there for setup and everything. But yeah, we'll hopefully come back for Bathurst. It'll always be good fun there.
That's all right, mate. We all do that. I do sims in the real world as well, and it extracts from my real world stuff. My sim racing as well. So I know what it's like. It's not always about being behind the wheel. So yeah, big congratulations once again, mate. So we'll let you move on. And before we go back to your winner, Trent Lavers, we see Kurt Chapman up into the broadcast booth at the moment. We'll give him a time to have a little bit of a chat too. Kurt, good evening to you, mate. Interesting night at the office to you as well. Definitely was not one for the faint-hearted.
Yeah, good evening, boys. It was a bit of a messy one to start off with, but once I got into a rhythm and that, I seemed to go pretty well.
Well, you definitely had some pace, mate. Made yourself up into the 6th position. You started out at P6, so anytime I can hop into a race, and Daniel would say the same, anytime you can finish where you started, that's got to be a good thing.
Yeah, definitely after that incident I had.
Tell us about your incident, mate. How do you see it from your point of view?
Well, I reckon it comes down to a lack of practice. I know everyone said lack of practice, but yeah, I come up to him, coming into the corner, hit the brakes a bit too late, not 100% sure where the braking marker was, and yeah, just tagged him on entry. I waited for him and he didn't, I tried to readdress, waited for him on the side of the road, and he didn't move or anything. So.
This was David Baz. Yeah, I remember that incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was unfortunate, mate. But you still did a good job. You still finished 6th position, got some points there. So you'll move on to round number 9. How are you thinking heading into round number 9? Pretty classic track.
Yeah, I'm just aiming for top 10s this season. Start of the season, it was like every time I was in the top 10, something would happen and it would go wrong. Yeah, if I can keep the car on the track now, I'll find myself in the top 10.
Well, mate, that's motorsport, and you have more worse days than you do good. Trust me, myself from doing motorsport for a long time in the real world. More worse days than you do good. But big congratulations, and thanks for making your time or giving us our time to being up into the broadcast booth, mate. You didn't have to sit here and talk to us and listen to all the stuff. So big congratulations on your P6 tonight, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Well, Daniel, that moves us back across to your winner. Trent Labors, mate. We'll talk to you again. I know we've spoken to you, mate, but I can tell you honestly, that was one of the most dominant performances, especially in a GT4 car, which a lot different to a GT3. You usually can't just drive away from the field, and you did that, and you were gone, mate. So that was one of the most dominant performances I've seen in a GT4 car in a very long time.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I think, like Georgie was saying, this track sort of suited the Aston with the way it drives and the way you get the speed out of it. Definitely in the officials, I was looking at the times and that from some results. It was pretty buried in the field. I think the Merc might have been a better car to drive, but that's depends on setups and things like that, I suppose. But no, it was a really good night. Car was good. I was driving it, well within my means, and like Geordie was saying, there was actually saving a fair bit of fuel there that mid part of the race, just rolling around, and I had probably an extra 2 laps of fuel up my sleeve than I needed at the start of the race. So it was pretty easy to maintain the gap and come away with a win. It was a really good night.
Yeah, well, it's good to see you at the front, mate, and clean set of heels at the front. Really, really good. But I've got more important questions to ask you. Cricket World Cup, mate. Who's going to win? We've got tonight, at the moment, we've got New Zealand playing India, and then tomorrow night, if it's not washed out, we've got Australia versus South Africa. Who's going to win it, mate? Who's your hot tip?
I'm going to have to go with the Kiwis and the Aussies, I think, is my tip. Haven't been playing the greatest, but I think they're due for a bit of a run, so we'll see what happens.
Well, hopefully they give you get a bit of your luck tonight and your speed. So hopefully we do see a Kiwi in Australia final in the coming days. But mate, big congratulations tonight. P1, clean set of heels at the front, absolutely dominated the field. Big time to shout out to all your sponsors, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Just before I shout out the sponsors, for anyone that's in Southeast Queensland this weekend, I'll be out at the Festival of Motorsport at Queensland Raceway representing the Skid Control homies. So if anyone's in Southeast Queensland and watching this back, feel free to come out. I think spectators are about $30 for the day, but I'll be there all weekend and I'll be racing my S15 Sylvia in the sprints and happy laps and cruises. So if anyone wants to be a passenger princess, I'll have a spare spot there if you want to jump in for a lap, and should be a good weekend. And to the sponsors, Aussie Racer Boys always looking after me. A great bunch of lads. So Bailey Ladders, Aussie Racers, and obviously myself, Lazy Racing. Thanks to everyone else and you guys for putting on the show.
Well, Trent, I might actually take you up on that because I live in Ormo in Queensland. So I might have to take you up on that, mate. I might want to drive it, but I won't be allowed to. But I'm more than happy to come out and say good day. So thanks for doing that shout out, mate. That might give me something you can put a face to a name. I met Joshy last weekend. So I might actually take you up on that. So anyone that wants to have a look at that's in Queensland, jump out and go to Queensland Raceway and have a look. So thanks for making that, mate. I might actually take that up, to be honest. But anyway, there we go. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up. So there we go, Trent Labors, your P1 winner here, or your race winner here for the Orbic Solutions GT4. Daniel, mate, what a night. What racing and dominance there by Trent.
Yeah, it was a good set of races all throughout. We had a decent showing there at the Downforce Legends, and of course the GT4 race that we just wrapped up. I will ask. No, he's left. That's okay. I was going to ask him a question about the Aston Martin, but that's all right. I'll do that for next week. But yes, good races all around. Didn't bring up I should have brought up the GT4 schedule earlier on so we could ask them about what they thought. I believe that they are off to Interlagos.
Interlagos next
That
week.
should be a good one. Brazil always seems to provide very good racing there. So we'll see the GT4s at Interlagos, and I believe the Downforce Legends will be at Lime Rock Park Legacy. So a good one all
Well,
around.
while we do this, Daniel, sorry to cut you off, how about we bring up what we've got on the streams of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club over the next week. So I'll just wait for that to get clear on me because I can't see that for some reason. All right, there we go. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club streams, but it doesn't stop here on your Wednesday night. Friday night, Texas Motor Speedway. They are there for the Road to Indy. Race start at 8:30 p.m. for 125 laps. Then we go across to Saturday for the usual Mountain Men Mount Panorama GT3. Race starts at 8:30 p.m. for 32 laps. We do go back across on Monday for what is our usual medicine of racing. Super 2 V8s, Super 2s and Super 3s. The Super 2s, I believe, are being broadcast from Sandown Motor Raceway. Race starts at 7:50 p.m, 25-minute race, and then we go across to the Player One Sim Gear. I can't really read that. It's the Super 3s and Super 2s, I think. There's nothing else.
The Super,
oh, no.
Yeah, the Super 3s are the ones that are being broadcast
sorry.
on Monday.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you'll see me crash on a Monday night. So that will be interesting. So Super 3s, and then we'll have the GT3s after that from the Watkins Glen Boot. Race starts at 8:45 p.m. I'll be in both of those bad boys, so I look forward to that one. Tuesday night, Ben and the boys and the up-and-comers, hopefully I can be back there. It's the F4s at Imola from 7:55 p.m. And then it's the GT1 Civil War from Detroit, GP Belle Isle. Race starts at 9:40 p.m. Wednesday night next week, you're going to see us again. Unfortunate, but you will. Lime Rock Park in the Legacy configuration. Race starts at 7:45 p.m. Race 1, 15 minutes. Inverted top 10, 25 as you saw tonight. And then we'll be back for the GT4s again for round number 9, as Daniel just mentioned, at Interlagos. Race start at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard, Australian Eastern Daylight, or 8 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard. And then race 1 is 10 laps, and we go back to sprint format. So race 2 is 18 laps. Then Thursday, TBA, to be honest, it's saying there. And race 1 will, in the Vs, obviously. And then we'll go to the Porsche Cup. So Vs, TBA with where we're racing. Race starts 7:45 p.m, but then back to the Porsche Cup at Imola. So looking forward to that one, Daniel. It's been a great night in the office, mate. Anything you want to say before we wrap up this one and call quits on a Wednesday night of what's been a great night of racing here on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club streams?
Nah, mate, nothing else from me. Just looking forward to the upcoming weeks of racing. Should be a good one, especially tomorrow. I can only imagine Zach is salivating at the mouth, which will be the Formula V's at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, if I'm not incorrect. I believe that is tomorrow. It is, so yes, Zach will be having a field day tomorrow, and the Porsches at Fuji Speedway. So should be a good one tomorrow night, and also on the upcoming weeks. But yes, other than that, I'm good to go.
No worries, mate. Well, thank you for joining me in the box tonight. It's been great bringing you all the action here on the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club streams. We've seen the Downforce Legends tonight. We, of course, if you want to get any of the merch, go on to race.tgsrc.inc. Gentlemen Sim Racing Club. If you want any of the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club merch, jump onto there and buy it. Support the people that support us. I know I will. And yeah, help the guys out, because without doing that, we don't go racing. But I look forward to everything this week. We've got up-and-comers, we've got GT4s, we've got GT3s, we've got everything. We've got some special events coming on at the end of the season as well, I'd suggest, after everything is done. But we've still got champions to crown, and we've still got a couple of weeks to go. But from myself, Daniel, everyone at the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, thank you so much for joining in tonight. I hope you enjoyed all the action. We look forward to seeing you next week for what will be on our broadcast, the Downforce Legends for round 9 and the GT4s for round 9 at Interlagos. From myself, Daniel, everyone at the Gentlemen Sim Racing Club, thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next week.